Notice how I'm saying to you that, how you know. Because when you're dealing with a person out of grace, all right, when you're dealing with them out of grace, especially if you're compassion, you will turn the fire down in your eyes. How many people know that to be true? When you're dealing with Caucasian people, you will look at them and you will consciously turn the fire down in your eyes, that they won't be offended or intimidated by your gaze. Okay? And that's what I'm telling you. You have to know that you have that power moving through you. There's nothing wrong with knowing that at all. Okay? But when they go in and give you these descriptions and comparisons, and they say that they have eyes like a flame of fire, that's that power of the soul. It moves different from you melanin dominant beings. Don't ever let anybody play you out. All right? Don't let anybody play you like melanin dominance isn't special or that it isn't important. It is important, but it will be in vain that it was if you don't do what you're supposed to do as your role in nature. If you don't do what you're supposed to do to get this realm back in cosmic order. Who better to get this realm back in cosmic order than the ones who have the rhythm moving through their soul? And you know you have the rhythm moving through their soul. What do they call your music? Soul music. What do you call it? Rhythm and blues. You understand? You move differently in this realm. You should understand it. You know what everybody else knows. It would seem that we're the only ones who don't understand it. That's why they want hip-hop to be the way that it is now. That's why they want our music. Why is it that our music has to be the only music that seems to be leading us to pure destruction? Okay? And we're supposed to be the most rhythmic people on the earth, the most in tune to rhythm. That's not a secret. So if you're the most in tune to rhythm, your hair grows up to the sun. You stand in the sun and you become enriched. Don't ever let anybody tell you that that means nothing. Okay? But don't also allow for it to be in vain that you have this vessel. All right? That you have a role in nature to get this realm back in order. Don't let it be in vain. Take these things back. Okay? And don't let these people try to tell you that that's a metaphor either, what I was telling you about. When they talk about the fine brass, don't let anybody tell you that either. No, it's a simile. All right? Now, if I say you are a star in the sky, that's a metaphorical statement. To say that you shine bright. Or it could mean you're far away. Or it could mean that you're distant. Or it could mean a million things. But if I say you shine bright like a diamond, that's a similar or simile comparing you to specifically be like a diamond. Okay? So we're very clear. So those are two different figures of speech. They're alike, but I'm saying that when they said his feet were like refined or burnt brass, that's what they meant. That's to tell you, think of, or go and look at Google, find a burnt brass image. Go do it now. Go type in burnt brass and go to images. And you'll be able to see what his feet look like. All right? So not only the color, but the radiance, the reflection of burnt brass. So that's the same type of effect. If you ever saw a melanin dominant person sweating in the sun, or look at yourself sweating in the sun. All right? They shine and they reflect. You can see the sun reflecting off of their melanin. That's the only way you can see that on any other group of people on earth is if their skin is dark or tan. All right? So not Caucasian or pale, where you see the reflection or the radiance of the sun beaming off of somebody. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen the movies where someone's standing there, a great black man, as you would say, all right, and you see the sun beating off of them. There's a glow that occurs. All right, and you can see the process of enrichment happening in their melanin in real time. So people got stuck, is my point, on the color image that wasn't even in the book or the description. Okay? So that's like somebody saying, yo, they hate the movie Toy Story because Ricky got shot. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't even, that's not the depiction at all. The image of Christ that you see has nothing to do with the chronicling. It has nothing to do with the story. That's them deceiving the whole world just like it was written down that they would be able to do. And if you don't have both sides, and they said it would happen, you can refer to Revelation 12:7-9, all right? Or you can go Matthew 24:24, where it says, for there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and they'll show you great signs, and they're going to show you all these great wonders. And they said if it was possible, that they would be able to deceive the elect themselves, the very elect. Okay? As a matter of fact, real quickly, let me get this. Let's go real quick to Matthew, and let me show you 24. All right? Let me read for you 24 so that we can see what's actually happening right now. Okay? And you'll be able to pay attention, because Jesus, if you think about it, he was a woke nigga. He was one of them woke ones. He was real woke. All right? A leader of the consciousness. Okay? Or a thought leader, whatever you want to call it. Not somebody that was accepted amongst everybody and all. No, they hated him. Sound familiar? And here we go. Matthew 24, I'm going to read it for you. And I want you to pay attention to the symbolism and the signs and the things that I'm going to be saying to you that can show you how important this person is. Okay? No matter what name you want to call them, that's a whole different conversation. But him and his family, they're important to this story. And they're so important that you can't remove them because they're not just in the Bible. They're everywhere, all over the earth. Krishna, all these other people, redeemers, reformers coming down out of the sky, down to the planet Earth, saying the same thing he's saying. Okay? So Matthew 24, and Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another, that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? Let's stop right there. They're asking him, they know for sure that there is a coming of the end of the world. They are aware of that. Okay? But they want him to clear up for the future purposes. So what are they asking for? Really, if you want to be serious, okay, they're using Jesus as some sort of medium, like they say divination, all right, to access something about the future. And he was allowing for them to know what those signs would be. Doesn't mean that it's evil, but he was letting them in on when they were supposed to know. But he said it in a way that most people wouldn't be able to understand, all right, unless you were paying attention to the rest of these stories. And I can break it down, all right, but maybe we can take a whole other room on Matthew itself and show you how the prophets have or the prophecies have played out exactly as he was uttering that people didn't even think was a prophecy book. Okay? All right. So he said what? He said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. Why was that important to start that way? Why? Well, because everybody's going to be talking about they know when the day is going to end. The world's going to end. All this stuff, all these other prophecies and things supposed to happen in 2012. And now you got people who are just repeating now. They're repeating Malachi. They don't want to pay homage to him. They don't want to say anything in his direction as far as light. But then they'll talk about the Agenda 2030. Where did you get Agenda 2030 from? Because it's in the Holy Tablets. Where did you get it from, the Seven Thunders? Where did you get these things from? Now everybody's screaming Agenda 2030 now. Go look up Dr. York Agenda 2030. I promise you'll be able to find what I'm telling you. Okay? So they're not the ones who received it. So what are they talking about? Then they're doing rules on it. And I'm saying again, that's still him. I'm telling you to go to him and see what he said. Someone who was also in tune with these people. And for some reason, here's the weird thing. For some reason, when you're in these rooms and dealing with people, I think that they think they're the only one who is supposed to have some sort of ability. Because as soon as you pull up other people's abilities and what they've been able to do and show their works for, this is just a belief system. Now it's just anybody, you know what I'm saying, that I'm talking about or trying to show you to, I'm just making this up. You think you're the only ones who, first of all, these people don't have the abilities, but let's say that they did. They think they're the only ones who did. All right? You're looking at all these stories that are showing you evidence of people who also have the abilities that you're claiming to have. And it's still confusing to people. You understand? So what did he say? He said, take heed that no man deceive you. Don't be deceived by these false prophets, these false messengers. All right? For so they said, many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. There are two ways that you're able to look at that. Many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. All right? Don't let people trip over quotation marks or any of that. I am Christ. They're saying that many shall come in my name and say that he is Christ. All right? So a lot of the deception came from the Christians first because they were saying that he was Christ and said that they would deceive many. Those people who come in that name. So if you're confused by what I'm saying, a lot of people were saying that they were going to come in his name at one point in time and he was going to say, depart from me. I don't even know you. Get away from me. You're a worker of iniquity. I don't know you. All right? I never knew you. But then we come in your name, whose name? Christian, Christ. All right? When did we say that his name was Jesus Christ? Or are you talking about a title that comes with Jesus? Because most of these people, you only know them by their name, first name in the scripture. You don't see too many last name this, last name that, like you're in the modern day time. Okay? So they're going to deceive many. And another way is people are going to say literally that they are him. And they're going to deceive many. Okay? Now, would the disciples be deceived? Because he's talking about something that's going to come in the future. The disciples are no more. All right? So they're supposed to break this down and send it down to their children, is what I'm explaining to you. And he said, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, but don't be troubled. See to it that you are not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So all these people talking about this supposed to happen, that's supposed to happen, and then it'll be the end of the world. No, it's not the end. The end is not yet. They said nation was going to rise against nation. Has that happened? It's happening now. Kingdom against people happening. Kingdom against kingdom happening now. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places happening right now. And they said that all these are the beginning of sorrows, meaning that you ain't seen nothing yet. Then they said, then they shall deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you. And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. What happened to your leaders? What happened to your leaders? Did not Malcolm X come up under Isa or Jesus Christ? The order that he came up under was not of Isa or Jesus Christ? Let's say he was a Muslim. Yes, that is the order of Jesus Christ, Isa. The most respected, most renowned prophet in the whole book, the Quran. If you know, you know. You understand? And they said that he was going to come, Prophet Rasulullah Muhammad, and speak highly of Jesus and not turn away from him. So when Malcolm came out of under Islam, I, self-law, and master to keep things in order, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, right, did, or the Minister Louis Farrakhan also did, right, even to this day, they came up under the order that was saying, let's take these things back to order. Okay? Now, when Malcolm was killed, and when Martin was killed, was Martin now also up under the order of Jesus Christ? He was under that order, okay, as a Christian. So whether it was Christian or Islam, whoever, what order they came up under, whatever nation they came up under, if they were talking about bringing things back to order and righteousness, then that was the order of Yeshua, salvation, okay? So what is the problem? The problem is that if you come up under that order, you are a target. Okay? Now, anything standing on lawlessness, they don't mind it. Don't tell me that this industry is set up for Jesus Christ, or that the industry is set up as the enemy. If they're trying to tell me the enemy is Jesus Christ, this industry doesn't stand up. I'm not talking about just the music. I'm talking about the movies, all of that. They are against Christ. They will mock him in a second. They will make a mockery of him. These people are for the devil. You can see all of their works, everything that they produce, everything they're trying to tie people back to is of the opposition, bringing things out of order, okay? So when we're saying again, you will be killed, they were talking about your leaders, and most of your leaders have been killed and rose up and persecuted at the righteous name's sake. For what name's sake? Righteous name's sake. They'll be hated of all nations for his name's sake, which is righteousness. And then, if you're paying attention, right, because let me break something down to you. Melchizedek means angel or messenger of righteousness. Melchizedek, messenger of righteousness. So anyone who came up under this order of Melchizedek, you're also coming up under the name of righteousness to right or rectify things that are happening in the earth plane. All of you incarnates. We know who you are because when you speak, we know your voice. Because, do you understand that? It's a familiar voice. The same way if you have a brother and you go away for a while and you come back around to your brother and your brother speaks in the other room and say, yo, is that Jack? Yeah, that's Jack. Yo, I know that voice anywhere. Okay, we know who's who. We don't care nothing about these people using verbiage and all these other jargon and terminology. We don't care nothing about people acting like they woke. We know exactly who you are. As soon as you open your mouth, we hear you. You understand that? So these people who coming up on the righteousness, we know who you are. And then they said, many shall be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. All right? We're right here in that day and time. You got all this stuff. Look at the app. This is just Clubhouse. It's just an app. People can't even get along with digital pixels. They can't get along with digital pixels. Looking at a screen, they can't get along. What's going on with all this list shit? All these people arguing over who the best people on Clubhouse. You know what I'm saying? You had somebody trying to speak reason and say, yo, why don't y'all just come together? Why don't y'all just put y'all money together, work on something? These people ain't trying to do that. You know what I mean? And it's just a phone. It's an app where you get to just hear people's voice. And it's still, they're not holding up to the voice. It's just the algorithm of the tone. And people are still standing in opposition and hating one another. And they still offended by each other. You understand? They can't stand together at all. Now, I'm not saying that you have to stand together. But I'm saying look at all the chaos unfurling on an app where you have a lot of powerful voices. And if they did finally figure out what they should be working on versus trying to come out against anybody who's standing on it for real, then you can move further. It's a powerful app if you allow it to be. But that's what we say, they shall be offended. Most people will betray one another, and they'll hate one another. It's all throughout our communities. They said, many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Let me tell you something. Some people might not want to hear this. That's happening in your conscious community. All right? We already saw what we saw with Christianity, and we saw what we saw with Islam. Okay? And we rectified a lot of that. But now I'm telling you, in your conscious community, there are false prophets rising up. That if you take Instagram away, these people won't know what they're supposed to be doing anymore.
Thanks.
Clout is the same for all walks of life. People are attracted to attention. They want attention.
Thanks.
All right? They don't know what they're standing on, and you got to be cautious. Anybody who's supposed to be woke and they coming out speaking against Jesus in this day and time, or against Christians, or against Muslims, they are not with us. That's not us. I'm telling you that now. The same way you can say, yo, if a nigga a Crip, he got on a bandana and it's in his left pocket, and he gonna walk a certain way, he gonna bang a certain way, and when we talk to him, he gonna talk a certain way back. When niggas say that, that's what I'm telling you. If they're coming out speaking against Jesus, can I say it again? If they're coming out speaking against Jesus, maybe one more time. If they're coming out speaking against Jesus, they are not with us.
Facts.
Those are people who want to spark up more confusion. They get this giddy feeling when they feel like they shut somebody down or turned them away, or I showed them, or look at these words, I shut them down. You understand? And we already did all of the schools of breaking the curses. None of these people are breaking out with anything new. Now they just want to argue. They just want to debate and tear people down. And that is not the type of energy that's moving amongst the ones who are in tune with the order right now. So be aware of those people. Okay? The same way you were told 1,000 years ago to be cautious of these people, or 2,000 years ago to be cautious of these people. Okay? And they said what? They said, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many wax cold, or shall wax cold. Didn't I do a room on heartlessness? Where people are being removed from their anahata. People are being removed from the unstruck. People are so hurt now. He's supposed to be unhurt. People are so hurt. People are so much in pain. Okay? And they're not in tune with their life force, or hayat. They're not in tune with it. So they're being led astray. And what happens is when you shut that solar down, okay, or that soul inner you down, the central you down, what happens? The same thing Nas said, right? We said that he held real dead bodies in his arms before their body turned cold. Okay? That means that fire turns off and you become a cold person. Now what is everybody saying? I'm cold-hearted. Listen to what people are saying. I'm cold-hearted. I'm cold-hearted now. Why are you cold-hearted? Well, because iniquity has abound. What is iniquity? Iniquity is lawlessness. All right? Lawlessness is taking over. You, the conscious community, we need you to be on your guard as well. We need you to be watching, because a lot of you came from religion. A lot of you were snatched from your pillars of faith. And it's not wrong if you were taught the sciences. I have nothing to say, because I would rather you be scientific than a word worshiper. I would rather you be scientific than just a believer. But if you were snatched away from your pillars of faith and thrown into spirituality, all right, then you better be cautious, because that means that the same way as somebody take you out of the gutter, all right, and they put you in the finest linen, or they put you over here, you eating the best food, but now you don't know that they're your pimp. You don't know that you're working for them now. They done took you over here, you was in the gutter working for somebody, but now you dressed up nicer, you're dressed a certain way, you look the part, but you're doing all their work for them, or you're listening to everything that they say, and you admire them so much that now you're going to just take their word for everything, and you're going to turn further away from the order. You got to be cautious, okay? Maybe you won't be, but I'm telling you to be, because I can see what's going on right here, all right? I can understand what's happening. People are being misled. I would rather people have stayed Christian.
Nice.
I would rather people have stayed on their walk of Christianity than to be out here like what I see. I expect more of you, conscious community. I expect more of you, because you were the ones who would set up cream of the crop. You were the ones who, most of you, if it wasn't your parents, it was you, taught by Malachi York or his works. You're supposed to know what day and time we are so that you can help people. All right? It's not for you to be also running out here in iniquity and acting like people. So why are all these conscious leaders able to fall? Because they never came up under righteousness. Okay? They came up under lawlessness. So beware of these people. All right? If you don't hear anything else I'm saying, then go and read Matthew for yourself. And instead of seeing some white person talking to you, imagine that it's me talking. Maybe that'll help you. Okay? But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Okay? Meaning it's going to be a long walk on a short path. It's going to be a long walk. You're going to have to endure. All right? You have to keep going. Meaning you might feel like you're supposed to turn cold, but don't turn your heart off because that's still disrupting the flow of your chakras. I wouldn't even tell you to turn your root chakra off. Okay? You don't disrupt the flow because then when it comes time to activate you, Merkaba, Mir is pyramid. If you don't know, go look it up. Mir, Ka, the spirit, the soul. All right? Mir also ties you to the word light. All right? Or. Then you have Ka, Ba. All right? The soul and the spirit soul body. Okay? So again, you have to have that activated. You can't be cold. So you have to endure until the end. That's where your salvation comes from. Okay? Which means you have to pass on all these sciences to your children. You don't know what day and time these things are going to come, but you can still see a part of your prophecy how you can speed up that process. Get in tune again. Become one again, because you used to be. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. So we're talking about good news here. All right? This hasn't happened yet. That's why he said, and then shall the end come. But right knowledge is a purifying spirit. That's what Pop said out of his mouth. Right knowledge is a purifying spirit, a Holy Ghost. It changes the man. It transforms you into a new type of creature, an aware creature, a creature that says, I don't believe it. I want to know the facts. Can you prove it? All right? That was word by word, verbatim, what Pop said out of his mouth. That right knowledge is the purifying spirit. He's not saying anything that Jesus didn't say. That ye shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free. And he cleared that up too. He said, make you free, not set you free. He said, that's a trick. He said, because you start thinking, if it's make you free or set you free, you start thinking just because you got the truth that your ass is free. No, that's what I'm saying. You, especially the woke ones who call yourselves that, if you think you have truth, then they're supposed to be able to work now. You're supposed to be able to speak to everybody from every book that they're coming from. You're supposed to be able to bring anybody or everybody who's coming from all over these different walks of life. You're supposed to be able to bring them to common ground. If you can't do that, you don't stand on the truth, because truth will always right itself and pull itself back to the center.
Thanks.
Every single time. I saw a room on Clubhouse where somebody was asking, I don't remember which group it was or room it was, but it said, what is the truth? What is the truth? Or what is the real truth? Or something like to that effect. Or how many truths are there? Right? And there's only one. You can have as many ideologies, perceptions you want to, but there's going to always be one truth, which is the center. All right? The solar system, gravity, how it works, the Fibonacci sequence, cosmic order, that's the truth. It's going to always want and set out to right itself, even if it's operating through people, human beings, because you're a part of the universe. So some of you have roles in this life. That's why I told you, melanin dominant people, you can play your role in nature and bring this back to order, because you're supposed to know better. All right? You're supposed to be in tune. Naturally, you're in tune with the realm itself. And don't let people tell you that nature is just the plants or just the water. Nature is the sun also. All right? Nature is the stars. The melanin is outside of this planet Earth, the carbon, all of that exists beyond the earth plane. That's all nature. Everything in universe is the nature. So when you're saying be in tune with nature, you're not saying anything but to what? Have your God gene activated, that this realm is communicating with you, and you can communicate with that. All right, with it. So when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, which is the shrine. Okay? Whoso readeth, let him understand or overstand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Why? What are you coming back to get at that point in time? When you've surpassed this material plane, as you call it, all right? When you've risen above all this, I want to be a part of the world stuff, we say come out of her.
Meaning you come out of her, okay, so you get up out of the root, okay? And I explained to you about the Adventistana, which is the what? Where you have the solar plexus, and right up under it you have the sacral chakra, which is the dwelling place or the house, if you were there to experience that breakdown. And above the house is the luminous or the lustrous gem or the illuminated gem, okay? So if you're on the housetop right there with that gem in your hand, why would you go back down? Why would you go back into the house? So what did it say? Well, let's read it. It said, let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Once you've reached a certain level and went up, don't go back down. Meaning you shouldn't be controlled by that chakra any longer. Once you ascend beyond it, you shouldn't be controlled by it anymore. Meaning it should be balanced out. It shouldn't be overactive and it shouldn't be underactive. All right. And that's when you start obtaining the light. And I told you through that poem that I wrote, which you'll have in the book Rehab when it comes. All right. That poem was explaining that after you climb on top of that roof beyond the dwelling place, which is the house, okay, you'll use that light from the solar plexus to heal the self. All right. Where you go to the heart chakra or the green energy. And then from that green energy, you will evolve to be able to speak a song of purification, which took you to the Vishuddha, which is what? The throat chakra, all the way up to the Ajna, which was the third eye chakra. All right. All the way up to the Sahasrara, which was the crown chakra. All right. So when you get to these certain places, there's no reason to come back down. That's why I gave you the diagram that says come home. Now, that doesn't mean you won't still be in tune with certain parts of your being, but you're coming home or you're evolving to that point. It allows for you to control all these different aspects of the self. So now you're no longer being controlled by the deception world. Or like they said, let he who can overstand, all right, or who can read it overstand. All right, same type of conversation where you're talking about let he who have wisdom count the number of the beast or calculate the number of the beast. Where they said, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel, all right, which means what? God is my judge. Okay, the prophet or the messenger, someone who brought a message by God, according to what we would say that is, or the Nabi, meaning the one who speaks from the water. If you want to remember what a prophet is, a prophet has to come from the Mah side of life. Okay, water. Mah means water. All right, you either say it as Ma'ah or Ma'an. Okay, these are different ways you'll say water. Whether you're speaking in the ancient Egyptian language or whether you're speaking in Arabic language, you'll say Ma. All right, and Ma is water. Okay, if I say Maya, I'm saying water. Interestingly enough, that's still a word that means illusion too. So you have a polarity there. But if this prophet is coming with the Medu Netta, meaning the Madu, all right, the speech of Netta, the word of God, okay, then that's the prophet that is truly in tune with divinity, okay, or the water, which is why you'll have that word prophet in Arabic, all right, and in Hebrew as what? Nabi, all right, or the envy of, you're saying it plural in Arabic, but it's Nabi, okay? So Nabi is navy, and navy or navi, all right, is dealing with the waters, like naval, all right, coming from the umbilical cord where there's a disconnection there or a severing there that allows for you to be into this world. You had to pass through the waters first. And that connection with that umbilical cord was to the navel. All right. And when you speak about navel as in Naval as opposed to Navel, you're talking about water. The Navy deal with the water. You understand? So Daniel the prophet, all right, where they say when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. And they put in here a message that said, whoso readeth, let him overstand. Meaning not everybody that read that would know what was being spoken about. What is the holy place? What is the holy place? After you've made it home, now you pass through a house in the sacral, okay? But where is home? That is the shrine, okay? Where you cross over the burning sands, okay? And you have that choice to become a shriner. Or a shrine, which means you're standing in the holy place. All right. If you need more proof of that, all you gotta do is look up what a shrine mean, a holy place. So unless you understand what Masonically is being spoken about in this book, you probably wouldn't understand that. But that holy place becomes the clean mind or the perfected mind, a mind of peace. You understand? Which is why I'm telling you to be cautious, especially where they have to reactivate. If you remember about 2 months ago, I broke this down to y'all, that they released a spell called Yahan, all right, or the spell of fear with what they call COVID. Okay, that whole plan, as they say, demi, or the situation where you had Pan, which is the demon god or the demigod, or that half god, half animal being, which is still a god if you go research it. Pan is a Greek god, okay, and he was a demon at the same time, and he was very demonic, and he caused people to panic when he let out this shrieking sound where you get the word panic from. Okay, so he had a pandemic, meaning Pan, all right, or that demon was going all around the realm. That type of frequency of panic was going all around the realm. I broke this down in the book, How to Fight COVID and Win, if you remember. Okay, so how were so many people able to get sick? And why weren't people recovering? Why was it that the numbers were boosting up and all? Well, they won't explain to you about your sympathetic nervous system and how if something happens that causes you to be under stress, if something happens that causes you to fret or to panic, okay, like if I walk into somebody's house and I start screaming to the top of my lungs, automatically everybody in that house that can hear that, they go into panic mode or stress mode. You understand? And we're wired to do this to let you have some type of psychic defense where then again, you're standing in the shrine. Where the holy place is the one who has control over that brain, meaning if you have control over your brain, you have control over the sympathetic nervous system, you have control over the parasympathetic nervous system, you have control over the involuntary functions, the voluntary functions, right? Which is why the people who taught you from the gurus or the Buddhas at one point in time were saying, don't just breathe, control your breathing. These are, why would I control my breathing? I breathe involuntarily. Okay, well then you're missing out on the upgrade that you could get from your brain being able to control an involuntary function, meaning you're bringing your consciousness, which is energy, where attention goes, energy flows, all right, to a place of focus where it wasn't already there. You understand that? So when you're stressing, okay, just based off of how your sympathetic nervous system works and everything I'm telling you, you just go back and research and you say, okay, this nigga ain't crazy. All right, I was telling people, don't panic. The one who blew the trumpet called Trump, he said, don't panic. I said, they're lying. I said, the fear is the program. I said, you're looking at more of a response of what they call in COVID than what you're seeing is a detriment of what they're saying is COVID. People were afraid of this thing. And I told you, I made many house visits to people. And when I couldn't make house visits and say people were further away, I would tell them what to do. And the first thing I told them was don't panic. The first thing I said was relax. Listen, you've been through something like this before. There already existed pneumonia. There already existed the flu. There already existed the common cold. You've been through things that are similar to this, but they're removing you from that reality, placing you in a new world, all right, with a new reality that says this is something brand new, okay? These symptoms are brand new, and they weren't. You ask them what were the symptoms of it, all right? Fever, the cough, all of that, the everything they were saying from the sneezing to the immune deficiency, everything that you're talking about has already been here. You understand? But they put people in stress. So if you understand how the body works, how that system works, okay, when you have beta receptors active, okay, in your muscles, what happens is you can relax. But when you have them alpha receptors there, you start squeezing up, okay, and tensing up. And if you're stressing and your body's saying, yo, we need to activate to survive, we're in danger, okay? What's an example of that warning that will make you feel like that? Well, COVID deaths are at an all-time high. Boom, you automatically go into survival mode. Why? Because for one, you don't want to die, and you don't know what COVID is. So there are two things that cause you to go into survival mode. One is that unknown factor, where you don't really know what it is. And two is they said that you could die. You understand? So then people went into stress mode. And they had people stand in stress mode because they wouldn't tell people all of the details about everything they knew. All right, they wouldn't tell people about all of the plans they had. They kept breaking it off, and then they'll switch it around. They'll tell you for one point it's 72 hours floating in the air or on a surface. Then they'll say no longer is that. Now you got a curfew out here. You got to be home by 9 p.m. unless you working, because I guess the virus didn't care if you work. But if you don't work, it don't like bro niggas and some shit like that. That's the, you know, and people bought it. People went for it, and they were stressing in the house. Everybody said, remember, stay home. I remember. It was dumb. But everybody said, stay home. Right? Or go home, stay in the house, don't leave, stay 6 feet apart, stress. And every time you went into a store and there was a sign on the floor or mats on the floor that said stay 6 feet apart, okay, stress. Every time they said, do you got your mask? And you got to go all the way back to the car to get stress. And what happens when you're stressed? Okay, for example, and I'm not saying stress is a bad thing, because the reality of it is if people were stressing, it helps them to survive. If people are to stress, it actually helps you to survive. But it helps you to survive in a situation. Let's say if you're in a car and you just crash, God forbid, okay, and you crash and you're trying to get out, okay, you go into stress mode. You start experiencing the adrenaline rush, okay? This helps you to survive. But when there's no real threat and you're staying in that state of stress, your body actually uses more of its energy. The blood, all of that is rushing toward places that say, let me help. Like they'll say, let's send blood to his legs so that he can run. You understand? Now, what use would that be if you're actually sick? Meaning, if this happens in the cold season, which it did, and they roll it out during the cold season where you're sniffling, You got a cold, you got a fever, you might have pneumonia, right? What use is it for you to be able to run and your body saying, why are we running? Then we must be having to survive, okay? So it actually starts working against you if you can keep up with what I'm saying, because now your body isn't sending energy to the digestive system, okay? Your body isn't sending energy to the lymphatic or the immune system, and it starts to actually work against you. So when they were putting these people in the ICUs, right, meaning literally they were watching those people, they were lab rats, and it's unfortunate, but it's a reality. It's an ICU, and they sat there and they watched those people die. They watched people pass away, okay, under a cold environment. They were isolated, okay? They were put up by themselves. Their family was scared. And even for the people who were bold enough and had that spirit in them and said, I'm going to visit my family, they wouldn't let but one of you come in. So your family was still isolated. That one person sitting out in the weight room, and you wonder why they said you got to come to the hospital to get help. How come all those people went to the hospital and died? How did that happen? Because their immune systems failed them. They were terrified. And if you don't understand that science, all I can say is research the sympathetic nervous system. Okay? And you can understand that key piece. But when I'm saying stuff like the fear is what's got people paralyzed, it's the fear that's making people sick, and it's the fear that's stopping people from being able to recover from sickness. Okay, and I'm not just talking about sickness as in the biological illnesses that you'll deal with in your liver or in your kidney. I'm talking about also mental illnesses, okay, which goes into a whole different type, anxiety, depression. People can't recover from that because of the fear that's associated with all of the things that they're dealing with. You understand? So now just be cautious, because, and by cautious, I don't mean be afraid, because as a Mason, they taught us this. Caution didn't mean to be afraid. Caution meant to be aware. Now, they flipped it to mean like if you come in a caution symbol right now, or a logo right now, or emoji right now, okay, they put that exclamation point in the center, all right, it says you have to fret, all right, or warning. No, caution isn't like that. Caution as a piece of the mind, or when you're standing in the Shriner place, where you learn really more about what it means to be caution as a Shriner, okay, which I didn't become a Shriner, but I have studied the Shrines. I will say that. I never became a Shriner, but I did study the Shrines, so I know their sciences as well. Okay, but when you're standing in that holy place, or in that place where you reach nirvana, all right, and you shedded the old temple, and you cross those burning sands, and now you're standing in the house of light, or the lighthouse, okay, you understand what caution means. It means full awareness. Are you with me? So I just wanted to point that out, that when people go up, don't come back down that ladder. When we're talking about Jacob's ladder, we're speaking about genetic upregulation, because that ladder is the double helix. Just to keep it simple. All right, it's the double helix. And when you climb up that double helix, or that flight of stairs, which is a winding flight of stairs, all right, you have genetic activation. Go watch the movie Dark City, and you will see where they speak about that, where they say, why is it that this man called Murdoch, it was what his name was in the movie. If you don't remember, go watch it. I told you to watch Dark City, okay, which is what they called Malachi. Malachi's name was Murdoch, all right, for a while. You go look that up, M-U-R-D-O-Q. And in the movie, they were trying to frame this person called Murdoch. You understand? All right, you better pick up on it, because he was the one who was able to tune, all right? And where did the tuning come from? The tuning came straight from the crown, or the third eye, the activation thereof. And you really can't activate that third eye without the crown being in a position to do so. That's a whole different conversation. One day we'll maybe speak about that. But I was telling people it's not just about the pineal gland, okay? Because a lot happens from that gland, okay? But there are other things that need to take place for that activation to take place. And what you're really saying is, when people say activation of the pineal gland, they're talking about an altered state of their brain or their mind. Okay? Because how is this pineal gland not a part of your brain? It is. You with me? So when we're speaking about the crown, we're speaking about the brain. Are you with me? So this being called Murdoch was able to what? Tune. You understand? And they were going around injecting people in this movie, Dark City. Okay, they were going around injecting people with what appeared to be a vaccine. And every time they would inject a person, okay, what will happen is the clock would go around for like 12 hours. That was a day. And at that 12th hour, they would inject the people with whatever this serum was that caused for them to have newer memories. Okay, it caused for them to be a whole new person, and they would build a whole new reality around that person. So, for example, if at 12, when that clock hit 12, right, you were a poor person living in the slums, okay, they could come in, these beings, they would come in, they would inject a person with a new memory, all right, a new whole lifestyle in their brain, and then they would change around the environment. So when when they clock and they turn that clock back on, what happens is that person thinks that they were always rich. That person thinks they were always living that way. They went from being in the slums to the mansion, don't even know that it happened. And the ones who used to be able to do that type of thing, according to what was documented, was a group of beings called the Igigi. They had the ability to splice and cut and snip and put things here and put things there. Okay, but there was a person who was able to do it, and his name was Murdoch. And they were confused, and they said, because they had a doctor who was supposed to be watching him, okay, and they asked the doctor, why is he able to do this? And he said, maybe he's a step up the evolutionary ladder. That's all masonry. And if you need more on that, just go watch the movie and tell me there's not a chase scene where you will see black and white chessboard floors and they're running down some stairs. You understand? It's the stairs, the flight of stairs, which goes to the what? The fellow craft. After you become an EA, you go to that second level, okay? All of the activation from the 2 to the 8, which is your 7, okay, is really the fellow craft. Where as a fellow craftsman, you should learn how to use your tools. And as you get to that 9, you become a master mason at 33, which is what y'all call it, which is really 5. All right, it was a whole different conversation because it's 1, 3, 5. But that 1 and that 3 and that 5, which is the same amount of years that they gave Malachi, that 1 and that 3 and that 5 is if I ask a mason, how old are you? If he tells me he's 5 years old, he became a master mason. If he tells me he's 3 years old, he became a fellow craft. If he tells me he's 1 year old, he just started. He's an initiate. He just started as an entered apprentice. You understand? So as the 1, 3, 5 will show you, when you get to that top, you achieve what some people think is 33, but it's not. But you think that, okay, unless you really study masonry, you'll realize, no, that's really just 3, which I break down in a video on my page called the 19 or the secret of 19 keys, right? So you can find it there. But I explain that it's really only 3 degrees. But when you get to what you think is 33 for a lot of people, they think it's 33. What you're really saying is 2 numbers, and it's 6 and 9, which is the black and the white, because 3 plus 3 is the 6, and the 3 times 3 is the 9. You understand? So this person called Murdoch had reached that evolutionary point, okay, or that precipice where a change happens. And the only way that happens is if you alter the mind. So what happens is we take this out of the spirituality conversation, okay, everybody's been getting shut down because you don't know the science. But they can't shut you down when you really know the science. What's the difference between Jesus bringing people out of hell into heaven, all right, then the motherfucker who's the doctor at the rehab facility or the rehabilitation facility that brings somebody out of hell into heaven, meaning they bring somebody out of not being able to control their urges, not being able to control their brain, okay, they're addicted or they're doped up or they're duped up. Like I broke down to you, say dopamine, you say dupe, I mean. Amen. Amen is what? To praise or to worship, all right, to give praise. And then you have dope, which is dupe, which means to be tricked or the deceivers, all right, or to be deceived. So if I dupe somebody or dope somebody up, I'm literally tricking them. Another movie I'll tell you to watch is called Bliss. One of the brothers, Courtney Bell, told me to watch that, all right? It's a movie called Bliss. Watch that movie. And interestingly enough, when I say the word bliss, what do you hear? Bliss, bliss. A being that appears in the book Al-Quran, the Quran, all right, which was Iblis, who said what? And this was a promise that he made, or at least a threat that he made, or a deal that he made with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you go read it. And he said what? Because you put me out of the heavens, all right, or cast me into the earth, or cause me to be of the lowly, or be in error, all right, what I'm going to do, he said what? I'm going to make all of your people, okay, or all of the people of the earth, the inhabitants of the earth, find it to be that disobedience is fair seeming. They said they were going to make disobedience fair seeming, or they will make it more attractive to the people here. Okay, so there's a deception there, though, because there's also a point in Al-Quran, chapter 14, or Surah 14, ayat 22, or chapter 14, verse 22, where it said, yo, God made you promises too. Allah made you promises too, because they're going to be asked about their deeds, and they're going to say, the devil made me do it. And this being that they were calling the devil was going to step forth and say, no, I didn't. All I did was made you a promise. I made you an offer. And Allah made you an offer too. This happens in the brain, is what I'm explaining to you. Okay? Once you really understand that, it's like you can explain it from the Islamic standpoint. You can explain it from the Buddhist standpoint. You can explain it from the Sikh standpoint. You can explain it from Jainism. You can explain it from however many schools, Christianity that you want to. Okay? And they can try to shut it down as just some religious ideology. But this is happening every day. People are checking themselves into rehab. Okay, people are changing their own minds every day. And by mind, like the Dr. Sabi told you, what did he say? He said, what do you mean by the mind? You mean the brain? You understand? He understood how the brain worked. You understand? So if you're going to evolve, first of all, you should understand what the powerhouse of your body is to be able to really ascend. And your ascension is just literally rewiring the brain. You understand? So you can study people like Joe Dispenza, who's not even a melanin dominant person. Why I keep telling y'all, you think that it's only black people who's on this. It's not, as you call it, black. Okay? It's not. There are a lot of people that are on this same type of journey and teaching this to a lot of people. But a brother called, or you wouldn't call him a brother, but a white guy called Joe Dispenza, all right, was able to take this and learn all kind of things, epigenetics and everything, how to reshape his body, heal himself from an accident that he suffered from a car crash, and was able to reconnect certain parts of his body and all of this. He breaks it all down. There's a book called Becoming Supernatural. Read it. All right, I read it about 2-3 years ago. But Becoming Supernatural, you should read it. And if you don't want to read it, it should be an audio book. The only thing about that is 11 hours long. But it's still, if you want to break it down into sections, just listen to it. Then you can go listen to it. Joe Dispenza, Becoming Supernatural. And it explains more, he explains more about the upregulation of the genes, okay? Or being able to tap into more of that brain power. All right? So if I just speak in this mystical sense, then it's not really going anywhere. People don't really understand what I'm saying. But if I tell you, yes, when you stress, you actually shut down your immune system. Okay? And I say, go make me a truth teller. Go and see if when you stress, does your immune system take a hit? You understand? Or does your immune system shut down and stop using the energy so that you can survive whatever's happening as an actual threat? You understand? It is on YouTube. Becoming Supernatural, Joe Dispenza. Okay? If you just type in Becoming Supernatural book and say the word Joe, it'll come up. It should be an 11-hour audio book if they still have it up on there. It's been a while. But it should be on there. You understand? So this person called Christ had reached this type of understanding. All of the Buddhas, Christ would be a Buddha. Jesus would have been a Buddha. All right? Which just means an awakened person or ascended master. Okay? They reach this type of understanding. And breathing a certain way actually does help you control your body, okay? Or your brain, or your impulses, or your hormonal releases. All of that breathing helps you to do that. You understand? Or controlling your breathing. So what's the point here? The point here is if you want to activate your genes, learn more about your brain, learn what actions daily that you're doing are having what effect on your brain. Stop letting people mystify this and tell them to really explain it scientifically. You understand? How do I make sure that the next time they roll out a program, I'm not put on autopilot? And you know they're about to do it. If you're paying attention, they actually putting out little pieces. Say, oh, look, there's another one. It's more dangerous. They sending out messages to people. Somebody sent me the message they sent to somebody. All right? They're telling people be cautious, and now they're trying to scare you. That means something. In the middle of a solar pole reversal, you understand? This is another 11-year clocked, and they didn't clock it for this year. In all actuality, it was supposed to be the 24 or 25. 2024, 2025. They didn't really clock it for this year. But time has sped up. I already explained that to you. Okay, I told you to pay attention to the fact that they had 28 days in the year 2021 that moved faster than any of the other days had ever been charted in history. And if you keep up with it, it's still happening to this day. And I even explained that they're saying eventually, and it's going to happen, this is eventually what they're saying, that there are going to be 366 days in a year instead of 365. And then more days will be added on. People say, well, how is it that there are going to be more days if time is speeding up? Well, the day that you're talking about is speaking in terms of the rotation of the planet Earth. So if the rotation of the planet Earth is increasing or speeding up in any way, shape, form, or fashion, it's going to add more days because that what you call a day is only a rotation of the planet. You understand? Which flat earthers will have a challenge of explaining because you're coming and you're aligning with the ideology that says what? Everything is fixed. You know what I'm saying? Nothing's going to move, nothing's going to change. Well, then how are these clocks changing? How the perception of the people changing? Something is changing. And the clocks don't just change by themselves. That's why they make them to be atomic time clocks. People say, how are the clocks keeping up? Because every time there's an alteration in the frequency of atoms in your realm, the clocks change because they're literally based off of the atomic movement. And if you think I'm lying, go make me a truth teller. Go research atomic time clocks and how they tie into the atoms and how they move in its realm. Well, what does that have to do with it? Well, if things are speeding up, okay, or heating up, then things will move faster. If you heat up atoms, they move faster, or they appear to move faster. Really what happens is space expands in between those atoms, so they're able to move about easier, okay? Just take a block of ice, put it in a pan. That's the simplest way I can tell you to do it, and heat up that block of ice, all right? And what you'll see is atoms just started to move faster or stretch out beyond space, and that force caused them to be able to move about what you appear to be faster or in an ascended state. So if that happens with ice, what do you think has to happen in your brain? You understand? It has to speed up. And that's why I'm telling you, get sunlight. Because the sun is like, nigga, I can help you. I'll help you do this. When I said move faster and we started fasting, okay, I mean ascension. Because if I rub my hands together, I just cause the molecules within my hands to move faster. Do it for yourself. Rub your hands together and you will literally feel them moving. You will feel the movement. After you move your hands away, you will feel the heat for one, but you can feel, all right, millions of atoms moving. They just started moving faster. Okay, so if your brain is up under dope or the deception world that moves much slower, you cannot ascend. You understand? So what happens is you're right there in what they call Ida or the Pingala, all right? You're leaning to the left or to the right, or you're swaying over here with the masculine, or you're swaying over here with the feminine. All right? And that's why I gave you the Sushumna word to say stand in the center. That's what really is meant by standing on your square. Stand in the center. You be the cornerstone. You understand? But a lot of times those scientists come through to teach this and people be like, all right, it's just philosophy. No. And what we say, I am the stone that the builder refused. Well, that's really coming straight from the biblical scripture. Okay, well, they said that they will refuse the chief cornerstone. They will refuse that stone. I am the stone that the building refused. I am the visual, the inspiration that made latest in the news. I'm the spark that makes your idea bright. Listen, you understand? The same one to go to war so that you can know your left and your right. I am the ballot in the box, the bullet in the gun, the inner glow that lets you know to call your brother son. Ascension, coming out of the Maya, all right, or the illusion to become light beings again. So when they said there will be many false Christs, or there'll be many false prophets, so many people are going to be coming up acting like they was on that tight time. And when you test them and see if they really on that, and you look at what they even up to, is like, is that where you're going for real?
So here go the thing about 2030. I see somebody ask what happens in 2030. The thing about 2030 is it wasn't necessarily 2030 that they were speaking about. It was actually 2027, which was supposed to be 10 years after 2017, because the International Panel of Climate Change met in 2017, and they were explaining that the overall temperature of your planet, our planet, Earth, is 1.5 degrees Celsius, okay, which is at that time was 1.5 degrees Celsius. And they were saying that if the global greenhouse gases and carbon dioxide emissions and all these other things like the aerosol injections and stuff, like these things that have been fucking up the ozone layer and altering the atmosphere and causing the warming of your planet, if that doesn't stop, then by the year 2027, they were saying that it would have reached 2 degrees Celsius. And at that point of 2 degrees Celsius, it's irreversible. Essentially, you can't stop the warming at that point. Now, a lot of people thought, oh, global warming, it must mean that, you know, we're dealing with just the ice caps melting. And no, there were a lot of other climatic alterations that were going to occur that would affect people, you know what I'm saying, especially people who have different type of respiratory diseases or ailments, and certain beings on the planet, living beings or organisms on the planet that will be affected by the heat changes and the temperature changes and the climate changes much more than you would, depending on who they are, what they are, insects, different animals, small animals. They will start dying away and becoming extinct. And this has been happening for over a decade, as a matter of fact, the changes, which is why they've been speaking about those changes for over a decade. But the concept of 2030 was saying that, hey, I don't know who, hey, look, I don't know, you probably new here, all right? But don't spam my comments. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't think you got that much to say. I shouldn't constantly see your name popping up saying a whole bunch of shit, meaning you're not listening to what I'm saying. And people are. and they getting their questions answered. So if you got something to bring forth, go live and do it over there. Other than that, this ain't the place. The comments ain't the place for that. You understand? So what they were saying was it was 2027. 2027. So 2027 was their on average year. But they wound up rounded up saying, okay, around 2030. And that landed right there with Dr. Malachi York's 2030 prophecy that he put in the book, The Holy Tablets. Okay, where he was speaking about that being the last year that they were going to attempt to take up whoever the chosen ones were so that they might leave before this realm was destroyed. Now, they also put it in the man who fell to earth, which is why you should see how all these things connect. Because in the man who fell to earth, the man who fell to earth TV series, he kept saying 2030 is coming, is coming. So they put in the sciences there. Dr. Malachi York been explaining it, and he did it as what was called the seven thunders. And with the seven thunders, he explained all the things that were going to be happening, and those same things are happening to this day. I was supposed to pull that up the other day. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick and read it for y'all if they have it. Because he put out the seven thunders, Dr. York, and nobody knew what the seven thunders were. There was no way to even find out what the seven thunders were because they told him to seal it up when it was supposed to be written. They said, don't write it. Right? So only way you could say Dr. Malachi York was wrong about the seven thunders is if what he said was going to happen didn't happen. However, it did. Right? So we have the seven plagues or the seven thunders. Right? Seven thunders, seven plagues from the Holy Tablets by Dr. Malachi York. I'm reading it word for word. All right? The seven thunders have been recorded by the ancient ones for thousands of years by the Hopis, the Yamasis, and the Nubians. Have logged these thunders. No, the Hopis, the Yamasis, the Nubians have logged these thunders as a sign of the coming of a new planet, Nibiru. Now watch this. I've been wondering to myself, and I might have mentioned it on here. I'm like, why are they doing it every day now? Every day they spraying X's in front of that sun. Are y'all paying attention to that? Every day. All you got to do is go outside and you'll see what I'm saying. Every day they spraying in front of that sun. They're not just spraying chemtrails, y'all. They're putting an X in front of the sun. Now, remember what my whole breakdown of the X is and how, you know what I mean? You got the X Factor portion of the How to Clone book that's coming real soon. Right? And you got the solar eclipse that's coming. Okay, the total solar eclipse that makes the X, right? And there's a lot of things I want to break down about that, but I ain't gonna spoil it. You know what I'm saying? But just know that the shit literally lines up to mean it marks the spot. Literally, right? Why are they spraying X's in front of that sun? Now, I'm grateful to be able to take pictures in this day and time because you can't make this shit up. It's 1,000 fucking pictures going around now where people are starting to wonder the same thing. Why they putting X's in front of the sun? What is the X for? And why is it the sun? Now, it's deeper than just the X, because in all actuality, I could tell you why they doing it. For one, it's a sign going around that sun. It ain't the sun by itself. There's a rainbow, a double rainbow, that is appearing. It's been appearing around your sun for the past 5 months, right? And every now and again, people are paying attention to it. But then it's been so many cloudy days, you don't even know that it's there. But people think that when they go outside and they see these clouds, you understand that that must mean that it's cloudy. No, right? Because here go one of the pictures right here, right? It's literally an X. You see the top right corner and you see the one in the middle. They're crossing these X's over the sun, not to cross out the sun alone, but to cross out that double rainbow. Now, Dr. Malachi York spoke of the double rainbow in the Holy Tablets and said that that was one of his signs. All right, if I can find it, I think it might be in the Human Beast. It might be in the Human Beast. If I can find it, right, I'll go and pull that up so I can read it verbatim what he said. Okay, but he was saying that that's one of his signs, right? The double rainbow over the dormicile, outside of your dormicile. Let me see if I can get the rainbow image too. Okay, so here you can see all three of them. You see the X, you see that rainbow at the top, right? And you see at the bottom, the sun. Okay? Why do they keep having to do that? If there are clouds out here and the atmosphere hasn't already begun to alter itself to the point where you can't even have clouds, meaning your convection and condensation portion of the or compartment of the water cycle has been affected by this so-called global warming. If that's not the case, then why are they having to do this? Because those lines that they spraying, each of those lines spread out into misty clouds to make people think that they're real clouds. And they're doing it in front of the sun. But what if they didn't do it? What would people see? You understand? Now, Dr. York said this. He said it's going to be coming from behind the sun. He said Nibiru will be coming from behind the sun. You understand? Now, everybody going to think you crazy. Everybody think all of us is crazy. But what did they call Nibiru? What was another name for Nibiru? It was called Planet X. Do y'all understand that you can look up everything I tell you? That you don't have to believe anything I say. You can literally go and look up everything I tell you. They called this planet Planet X. They ran, I'm going to show you. Fuck all that, because we got Google. I'm going to show you this shit. They called this shit Planet X. Let's look at Planet X real quick. They talking about hypothetical Planet X. They know there ain't no hypothetical. Planet X, okay? X, Planet X, all right? Planet X has been around. And they trying to make it seem like it's some new conspiracy that people came out with. Well, let me show you something. They had something called the electrical experimenter, right? 100 years ago. And in the electrical experimenter, look what I say, June 1915, over 100 years ago. There go Nibiru right there. They spoke about it right there. So let me tell you how that's Nibiru and where you can find it at. Because Dr. Faise York explained it. Let me show you. Because he has the image in the Holy Tablet. I got the shit right by me. So if they don't have it on here, I'm just pull it up. Okay, here it go right here. Right? You see that image? That's what you were just looking at with the electrical experimenter. Right? That's the same image. It's the same thing. And they were talking about some type of mother plane or mother ship or planet-sized ship. That's another thing. There was a planet-sized ship. He wasn't the only one talking about it. The news was talking about it at one point in time when Hale-Bopp came around, and they were saying that it was something that was large and living, an orb that was coming behind Hale-Bopp, and nobody knew what it was. They didn't know what it was. You understand? So they were actually looking and listening to Dr. Faise York to see what it was. You understand? But people don't forgot about that because they don't really know what it is, and they don't want to sound like they pseudoscientists, so they stop talking about it. Okay, but look at what's called the mothership or the Holy Jerusalem, the city of Jerusalem. All right. So let's look at this image of Nibiru. All right. You see how there's a central compartment right here. There's an outer compartment here, outer compartment here, outer compartment there, outer compartment there. I'm going to show you something. Keep that image in your mind. All right. You see? You see how there's a center here? There's an outer compartment there. There's an outer compartment there. There's a top compartment here. And there's a compartment at the bottom. Do you see the cross in the center? Watch this. Do you see the cross in the center? Watch this. Are y'all listening to me? Do anybody hear what I'm saying? So, when they said, watch this. And there shall be signs, which means markings, okay? Or messages, miracles even, in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. All right? Waves. Men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Okay? Now, what do they mean there shall be signs in the sun? Signs in the sun. Only possible way you could be speaking about signs in the sun would be saying an eclipse, but they already cited about the eclipse, saying that the sun will be darkened. So what do they mean by signs in the sun? Right here. Because what is that sign or that marking in the sun? It's an X. Are you listening? Remember I told you they can't do this unless they could do this. All right? So what is that symbol right there? An X. Now, I already explained to you that if you're looking at this head on from the eagle eye view of a pyramid, that's a cross. What will be the signs of your coming? The coming of who? Look at the double rainbow. The signs in the heavens. And somehow, some way, this is what they covering up. This is what they've been covering up. They've been trying to cover it. Look at it. Look, they're trying to. Every time it shows up, they fly over it to cover it up. Why? What is it that they're hiding? What's behind the sun? And why does it seem like it's getting closer? But no, that's the devil's fear. They call it a sun halo. That's their fear. The fear is that the scroll rolls back. Remember, we said it. The scroll rolls back. And the whole world will have to behold. And they say, every knee shall bow. Do y'all think they mean every knee shall bow because they like, glory to God, and they get on their knee and bow down to God? No, motherfuckers is going to drop to their knees. If that scroll were to roll back, meaning you can't even veil it no more. You can't cover it up. Why they keep trying to send clouds in front of it? Look, everywhere you're looking, they trying to send clouds in front of it. But that's not even a natural occurrence. Those clouds aren't natural. That misty ass cloud, I'm telling you where they doing it from. These lines spread out. Next time you standing outside, have patience, and you see that line, wait for 30 minutes, and you're going to see that same line become a blanket of clouds. I'm telling you what they're doing. They're covering it up. You with me? Every day. It's a day job for them. Now, look, why? Why these lines keep seeming to appear in front of this sign in the heavens? They're trying to blanket it. And they try to do it every day. You understand? Look, everywhere you look and you see these lines in front of it. So you probably thought these jets were just flying around leaving behind smoke. No. They trying desperately to say, don't look up. Remember the movie? Don't look up. Don't look up. Don't behold this. All right? But again, look. What is the meaning of this? 1,000 different pictures. And they steady putting the damn X's and shit in front of it. What is that? What is this? What is that sign? You understand? I'm telling you what it is. That's the sign. The sign of the coming. They didn't say, what's the sign you're going to be born again? They said, what will be the signs of your coming? Now, how is this person going to arrive? Let's check it out. For he is coming with clouds. Revelation 1:7 KJV. Behold, look, watch, pay attention. Lo, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. Now listen, if every eye shall see him, what are they trying to tell you? Watch this. And they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. Why is niggas wailing? Why is this event causing people to fall to their knees and wail? Okay, I told you. Because you're this close. Look, watch this. This close. You're this close. You might not know you're this close, but you're in Revelation. So you're how close? You're this close to that moment in time where They can't hide it anymore. Disclosure, the action of making new or secret information known. I know a place where they spoke about that. The mystery of God, right? Revealed. Let's go Revelation. Revelation 10:7, that's what it is. But in the days of the voice of the seventh angel, when he shall begin to sound, all right, that trumpet, the mystery, the secrets, the sacreds of God should be finished, complete, as he hath declared to his servants, the prophets. Okay, which it was supposed to be 7 of them. Are y'all listening to what I'm telling you? So they already said that they hid the mysteries. Things were hidden. But then there came an apocalypse. And we're going to look at the etymology of apocalypse. All right? Apocalypse. Say what? Uncover, reveal, apo, which means un, kalyptane, which means to cover. So you're uncovering something, taking the lid off of something. All right? To take the cover off of. Uncovering. Okay. So then let's say what is it? Revelation 6:14. And let's look. Revelation 6:14. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. They went to Shambhala and Argratha. They tried to run to the cave, like they said in the book of Amos. Same thing they done before. And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on that throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. You mean to tell me the Lamb has wrath? Watch this. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? The day of standing. All right? Yom Akli. The day of standing. Who shall be able to stand? And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, and the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor any tree. And I saw, listen, I want y'all to pay attention to something I'm about to show you, right? Because firstly, what do you mean by 4 corners of the earth? The earth doesn't have corners. You know what I mean? Listen, I'm telling you something. Lord it doesn't have corners. Even if you think it's flat, it still don't have corners. Not on a circle or anything round. There are no corners. You understand? And what are the 4 winds? What is this 4 winds conversation? All right? And who are these 4 angels? And angels travel. We know they travel. And we know that this other being called Asa was supposed to be coming with clouds. So what are the 4 winds? All right. Now, how many points on the next? Right? 4. Let me get these 4 winds and show you. If the page is still in this book. I know this should have been through hell and high water. I probably don't got the damn page. Yep, I do got the page. Let me show you. Behold, the 4 winds. You see that? North wind. What is that? What is that? A craft. East wind. What is that? A craft. South wind. What is that? A craft. You all with me? And west wind. They're crafts. And what do you see right there? Nibiru, which your government knows about. And they tried to call Dr. Melikazi York crazy, but they've been running the program about it since the 1915 and even before then. And they made whole movies like Close Encounters of the Third Kind while calling him crazy and while calling the most honorable Elijah Muhammad crazy. No, these people weren't crazy, y'all. They all want notice they only want the melanin dominant ones to be crazy. But the hippies out there in Nevada, nah, they on point. they the ones. Anybody talking about they can channel the Pleiadians and all this other shit with fucking tarot cards? Yeah, they on point, as long as they bright skinned. But as soon as one of the melanin dominant ones step forth and tell y'all we've been on the craft or something that happened or we've seen this and seen that, we got to be crazy or we got to be pseudo or we got to be out of our mind. Why? Because we wasn't born melanin recessive. That's why Dr. York was saying, yo, if he was a light-skinned Arab, a lot more people would have listened to him. If he would have appeared more light-skinned, the Nation of Islam probably would have accepted him. He was saying this. A lot of people would have accepted him probably if he was lighter, because he was a dark-skinned person coming from Sudan. They were like, oh, we don't need to listen to him because it wasn't marketable to listen to him, especially at that time where dark-skinned people were looked at as a plague of the planet. You with me? Now, we done grown past that time where dark skin has become a thing that's in, but notice they only want dark skin to be in when you're speaking about sexuality. You know what I'm saying? They still trying to pervert the shit. You know what I mean? That's why niggas talking about, I love black women. They fetishize them. That's what they really try. They're a fetish. You know what I'm saying? It's all about sexuality. So Dr. York was trying to explain. He said they won't listen to us. We come in and we explain it. They don't want to listen. But we've been saying it. Watch this. Asteroids, comets, and meteorites from the shattered Tiamat and the debris of the hole bored through the planet Earth. Okay? So that was the planet Earth. Tiamat getting a hole put in by the east wind, one of the 4 satellites that crashed into Tiamat from Nibiru. A satellite. So let's read Revelation chapter 7, verse 1. And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth. Right? Holding the 4 winds of the earth. That the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor any tree. All right? Now, I already showed you what the 4 corners was. Now, I don't know. I probably got to find the other image. Like I said, this book been through hell and high water. Okay, because they go Tiamat. They go to West Wind. But he broke down all this shit. Explained it all. That's why I tell you, the Holy Tablet was supposed to be read, but people telling people don't read it is insane. Right? He broke down a lot of shit in here. But anyway, that was the 4 winds. And they're going to bury it right there in the Holy Tablets. I probably don't have the first few pages because this shit over here going through it. Right? But it's right here. They're going to bury it. Okay? So, he said he came with clouds. There was this movie, okay, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And let's take a look at the cover of that movie. Okay? That's the city of Jerusalem. That's the New Jerusalem. Or the New Jerusalem, or Dar Islam, or Jaru Islam. That's the holy city. Look, it even looked like a city. All you gotta do is look at it and you can't unsee it. Don't that look like a city when you flip the shit upside down? And what color is that? Silver. And heaven is called a silver city. Now, how do you know heaven ain't no place that just sits still? Because it said, thy kingdom come. Okay? And if the kingdom has to come here, it's not already here. So you have to ask anybody that wants to play like, if you're a Christian, you don't believe in extraterrestrials, because you do. How does the kingdom of heaven get here if it doesn't travel? And if the kingdom of heaven is an actual composite or a composition or a configuration of whatever material, okay, and God is in it, driving, and his son sits on the right hand of him, meaning he has an assigned seat. Okay. How is this not a vehicle that we're talking about? And if the kingdom of heaven has to come to earth, in order for God to actually literally come down, let's read Revelation 21. Let's get it clear. Let's see if Revelation 21 is going to back us up about some type of extraterrestrial encounter. Now, if you don't know what extraterrestrial means outside of the planet Earth, coming into the planet Earth. That's when something becomes an extraterrestrial, when it enters into your atmosphere. You understand? And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. Okay? And I, John, saw the holy what? City. He called it a city because it must have looked like a city to whoever Yohanan was or John was. Right? It looked like a city. New Jerusalem. He was saying he know about a Jerusalem, but this must have been a new one. Coming down. Listen, coming means to travel from one place to where I am. All right? Coming or traveling down, meaning from his standpoint, meaning from the point where he was standing, I, John, beheld or saw, all right, the New Jerusalem coming down into the earth from, okay, so we got coming, we got down, and we got from. Where are we coming from? From God out of heaven, okay? So not only is this New Jerusalem a haven or a heaven itself, all right, thy kingdom come, our Father which art in heaven. Okay, let's look at that prayer real quick. Let's look at the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, that's Matthew 6:9. Our Father who art in heaven. Okay? After this manner, therefore, pray ye, our Father, whoever you're talking to, all right, which are in outer space, not earth. Our Father that exists outside of earth, wherever that is, or whatever planet, listen, which are in heaven, outer space. Hallowed, holy, blessed be thy name. Okay? Thy kingdom come. Wait a minute. There's a kingdom? So God isn't omnipresent. Whoever this God is not all places at all times. So they can stop that. Because God has a kingdom. And God is in heaven, locationally. He's in heaven, whoever this Father is, which means that it ain't Jesus, because while Jesus was talking, he was on earth. You know what I'm saying? They got to stop it. He said, in this manner, after this manner, therefore, pray ye. Meaning you're not just praying for no reason. You're praying with a purpose. Let me show you what that purpose is. You're not praying for your rent. You're not praying for somebody to make it on the basketball team. You're not praying that you get the girl. Okay? There was a whole purpose of you sending out that call. Okay, together, sending out a call to God, whoever those Elohim or extraterrestrial people are or were. Listen, pray, speak out, connect like they're doing with the SETI satellite, all right? Where they searching for extraterrestrial intelligence, literally is what it's called, SETI, search for extraterrestrial intelligence, all right? Our Father, there's a family here, a conversation of genetics and heredity. Okay, offspring. And we're going to get into that in the book, How to Clone. All right, when it comes out real soon. I just haven't picked a date yet, but I have to make a date sooner enough that you'll be able to read it and know what you're supposed to do on a date that comes shortly after that date release. So we'll get a date real quick. Our Father, which art in heaven, holy be thy name. So this person is in heaven, not all places at the same time. All right. And he has a name, which means somebody named him or he named himself, whichever one. Thy kingdom come. There's a kingdom, like the city. Thy will be done. Okay. Will, meaning whatever it is that he see fit, or law. Thy law, bring your law to earth, in earth, as it is in heaven. So is earth and heaven, or are earth and heaven the same place? No, these are two different locations. So as Jesus is on earth, speaking about a man that is in heaven, all right, Jesus and the Father are not the same people unless you're spiritualizing it, because the book that the Christian people go by, which is the Bible, said that anybody who said that Jesus didn't come in the flesh was an antichrist, meaning they would ultimately end up going against Christ, whoever that being was. Why is that important? Because if he came in the flesh, then you cannot spiritualize him. He's not a spirit. The man was never a spirit. You understand? He lived, he ate, he slept, he wept just like everybody else does. You understand? So this person may have had access to more advanced people. This person called Jesus or Asa, who is called Jesus or Asa. All right? But that doesn't mean that he was a spirit floating around. And if you get wrapped up in the spirit clause, then what happens is people start asking Jesus for help with their rent. Do you get why I'm going back to that? Has nothing to do with what his purpose is or ever was. But people start praying in that name to get things done where this person has a whole different role. Are you with me? He didn't say, pray ye my name. He said, pray the Father. Our Father which art in heaven, holy be thy name. Your name, whoever this being was. All right, watch this. Thy kingdom come. There's a kingdom coming, according to what this prayer was supposed to be about. Thy will, their law, be done. All right, enforced in the earth, in the side of the planet, okay, where we are, as it is in outer space, okay, which is a haven, which there are other homes and other places. In my Father's home, there are many mansions, there are many planets. All right. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, and as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power, authority. All right. And the glory forever. Amen. Amun. Okay. So we just found out that there's a man or a being or a God, okay, or a person who is revered or worshipped as a commander that is in heaven, okay, and has a kingdom. Now, kingdoms also have armies. So you have to ask, why would God need an army? Armies are used to defend territory, like a kingdom, per se. Or you might place a cherub or a carub in front of the garden, all right, to defend the gates of the garden and keep people out. Why would, if God was supposed to be this magical, mystical creature, how they try to paint it, why wouldn't he just snap his fingers and make it be that snakes can't get in the garden or sneaky people can't hack their way into a fucking ship, which is called a terrestrial paradise, which was actually floating in the earth like a UFO before they were cast down off of that craft. That garden was a craft. Are you with me? Hey, if you don't believe me, that's fine. Go read the Quran and you will find that he told Iblis to get down from the craft. He said, go into the earth. He said, get down from it. Now, if they were in the garden, in the earth, all right, then how are they also in heaven? All right, because that was a haven. But they couldn't have been in the earth in heaven, because that'll mean that we get in a plane and we could fly past God. No, that was just a haven. People think heaven means all of these places we talking about. No. You know what I mean? No, it's many different ways that it's applied. Okay? So watch this. God has an army. He has a kingdom. He has a seat. His son sits with him. They driving through outer space to get to earth. All right? So we just read that people are praying for the God, whoever this father is, to come to earth and lay down their law. All right? Whoever these Elohim beings are, lay down the law of the Elohim. All right, let's fact check it. Okay? I, John, saw the holy city, the kingdom. Listen, the New Jerusalem, the kingdom, coming down from God out of heaven. Our Father which art in heaven. Stop with the omnipresent stuff. You gotta let that go. All right? The Father is in heaven, not on earth. Okay? The kingdom is in heaven, not on earth. Now, if you talk about the kingdom of God, that's within you. But God's kingdom ain't within us. It's two different things. You say, I thought it was the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. God's kingdom is a UFO, or a mothership, as you call it. All right? An unidentified flying object called Planet X. That's God's kingdom. But the kingdom of God, meaning the kingdom that came out of God, or the kingdom that was birthed from that lineage, is speaking of you people who have that gene inside of you. The kingdom of God is within. You with me? I hope that's not confusing anybody. Because you're saying of, like if I say Phase One of Atlanta, that means Phase comes from Atlanta. Atlanta didn't come from Phase. And Phase and Atlanta are two different things. All right? But I can say the Phase One of Atlanta. Are y'all with me? So I'm coming from Atlanta. All right? But Atlanta ain't coming from me. So you got the kingdom of God. You have a kingdom inside of you that came from God. God ain't come from you. And the crap that they're using to get here, all right, ain't come from you either. Don't let them confuse you. Don't let them confuse you. All right? You'll know if you have that gene if they lead you to know. That's the only way. Other than that, I can't tell you. Okay? Scientists call it the God gene or the VMAT2 gene. I don't know if you have the gene. I can't tell you that. Okay? But they'll communicate with whoever they... If it's supposed to be communicated to you, it will. And you're in here for a reason to hear that. You got your question answered. All right? They'll reach out to you. Some of y'all probably starting to hear the ringing in the ear and all kind of stuff. They'll reach out to you. Okay? If you're supposed to. But look, it may not be your generation. You never know. It might be the ones coming after you. It's just depending on what time you're in. And I don't have that. I don't have that answer. I can't tell you who has the gene or any of that. All I can say is my sheep know my voice. And when we create that sound wave, listen, of God, and we make that noise that connects to Illa, okay, then if you feel like it's resonating with you, then you're one of us. If not, then you won't be there. The green light resonated with you, then you're one of us. If not, you won't be there. Even if you try to kick it. You that amber light people might put a green light in their home. That'll make you green light. You know what I mean? One of these things is you won't be able to fake it, okay? Because when they come through the sift, like the movie Knowing, they already know who we are. All right? If it's that time, they'll come to you. They'll communicate with you. Don't let anybody tell you you're not, and don't let anybody just proclaim that you are. You know what I mean? The elect is a process. You don't just elect a president by the president becoming the president because you know the president is a possible candidate. You know what I mean? The election, the whole election is a process. It comes from many different states, literally many different states you have to go through, all right, to even electrify. And we in that election year, okay? This is a grand time, though, and if you found your way to me, I don't know where else the hell motherfuckers would be at. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even tooting my horn, okay? That ain't even me tooting that trumpet. That ain't even me, all right? If you found your way to me, I don't know where else the hell motherfuckers would want to be right now as far as the voice that's coming through to clear up the confusion. The only other way I could look at it is Dr. Malachi York, and they made sure that that voice was taken out of the public. Okay, that's the only other emerald light voice we got out here. So something is happening that I can crack these codes. Okay, I will go ahead and show y'all what I cracked too, if I get around to it, if I can remember. I'm gonna put it in the back of my mind. Okay, because I put it in the How to Clone book. I'm gonna put it in. If I can remember, I'm gonna come back around. I'm gonna show y'all X marks the spot. I'm gonna show you it. All right. Or I might do a challenge to see who can crack it on their own. And we come back on here and see who cracked it. All right? Boom. Okay? So, where we at? The kingdom? Okay, cool. So we got that. Heaven. All right? Prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. So they speaking about a color. All right? What color do the brides wear? The color the brides are supposed to wear, if they're pure, you know what I mean, is white. Now, 99% of the motherfuckers who be wearing white. The truth is, most people who be wearing white to their weddings as the bride, they probably shouldn't be wearing that shit. And you know that's just because of the fact that it was saying purity. But of course, people gonna still do it. You know what I'm saying? Against tradition, and tradition don't even mean nothing no way. It's just motherfuckers saying, "Hey, please do it how we did it before." Right? So, but the concept is white, all white, which is speaking about a glow. All right, so. Prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. So brightness, okay, that they saw. Look at that glow of the sun. Are y'all with me? Now, people saying, I saw 2 suns or 3 suns, different things glowing that they're saying they see in the sky. Okay, watch this. And I heard a great voice out of heaven. Wait, hold on. You heard a what? You heard a voice. A great voice out of heaven? So this is an intercom. Listen. That's the only way you could have heard a voice coming out of heaven. Somebody had to be speaking. All right? So if somebody's speaking, they're pressing that button to speak. How the motherfucking police do say, pull over now from a vehicle. All right? They heard a voice out of heaven. You can't say this voice out of heaven is some allegory because they literally said what he said. Saying, meaning somebody is speaking. Behold, the holy place or the dwelling place, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will, listen, dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. All right? Let's fact check it. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Are you with me? So this being comes and says what? And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne, a commander, a king, all right, signifying royalty, position, rank, said, behold, I make all things new. Right? Here go the word new or anu. Okay? And he said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful. Okay? So let's stop right there for a second. He that sat upon the throne said, I make all things new. Meaning whatever was here set up as a dominion or a rulership, okay, it's over. All right? Thy will be done on earth or in earth as it is in heaven. Okay? Only way that could possibly be happening is if somebody came down and actually had the ability to do it. Okay? Meaning you would have had to have the weaponry. You would have had to have the army, the technology, and all of that to stop. Do you know who the God of this planet is? So this God ain't from Earth. This is a different race of beings, Elohim. A different group of extraterrestrials. So we got to find out who the fuck is the God of this earth then. If God ain't on earth, he in heaven. We already found that out. Okay, according to what they wrote. I'm not trying to hear what nobody's interpretation is. What they wrote is God is in heaven, not on earth. Okay, so who is the God of this earth? Let's see if we can find it. I'm looking for the right translation of it. What was it? All right, cool. It says right here, I didn't write it. It says right here, I didn't write it. Satan, who is the God of this world, has blinded the minds of those who don't believe, the kafirun. They are unable to see the glorious light of the good news, gospel. Okay? Who is the God of this world? Satan. So, there's also called a prince of this world. Let's look up who the prince of this world who has nothing in Christ. Let's look at it. Prince of this world. What do you say? Hereafter, I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh and hath nothing in me. Okay, so it's a God of this world, there's a prince. It seems like there's a dominion set up. It seems like there's a kingdom set up on this earth where there's a king, a God, you know what I mean? A prince, the servants, the angels, the warriors, the demons. This right now is hell. You know what I mean? And there are different levels of hell. But earth is in a state of hell because the ruler over hell is none other than Shaitan. Are you with me? Who hasn't yet been cast into the abyss of hell or the deeper parts or the deeper realms of hell, according to what was written. He was given 6,000 years. You understand? Until that rule will be up. Okay? And they said, yo, you'll have time. I'll give you some time. They didn't send him directly to hell. That was another thing. Which will explain to you why there could be a war in the heavens. Because he ain't locked up yet. He's still running amok. They literally said that shit in the Quran. You understand that you are one of the ones reprieved. All right, I'll give you reprieve. I'll give you respite. I'll let you rest for a second. Okay? He made a deal with God. Shaitan made a deal with God, and God didn't lock him up immediately, which is crazy. You know what I mean? Because I definitely would want to talk to God about that. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you could have literally locked this nigga up. As soon as you realized he was a fucking tyrant, you know what I mean, or terrorist, his ass could have been locked up immediately. I don't know who the fuck was on the board that was like, let's let this nigga give more time to fuck up more shit. But the deal they made, according to Al-Quran, was saying, you know what I mean? Hey, look, I'm going to lead people astray. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to lead your people astray. And, you know what I mean? And I'm going to make sure they can come to hell with me. And Allah was like, shit, that sound about right. That sound about cool. Okay, cool. If they fuck with you, then they fuck with you. They fuck with me, they fuck with me. You know what I mean? I wasn't allowed to say shit. But I wanted to say, hold on, what the fuck? I wasn't allowed to talk. That wasn't my role. But I wanted to be like, yo, you gonna let them, you gonna just let them. There's a lot of fucking generations of people that's gonna fucking suffer because of what the deal that y'all making right now. I know y'all just, you know, I don't know if it was pride or ego, whatever the hell it was. But them niggas made a deal over humans' heads. They made a bet. I heard Iblis literally talking about as soon as he would get in his shit, he was like, bet then. And I was like, bet then, nigga, bet, nigga, bet, nigga, bet. You know what I mean? It ain't been like 20 minutes to them. To y'all been going down here. Y'all down here going through it. Don't even realize because they literally unleashed the beast on you. They could have locked his ass up, but they didn't. You know what I mean? So people ask you, you can't really answer this from a Christian standpoint. You say, why hasn't God locked up the devil, destroyed the devil? They say the same thing. Oh, God has a plan. Yeah, his plan was to let the devil run up and down. When he asked the devil, where you been? Say, Satan, from whence cometh thou? Right? Which is what the nations say to each other. Right? The response should be coming from up and down the earth, from walking up and down the earth or traveling up and down the earth and to and fro. What? Shouldn't his response, even in the Bible, have been, shit, nigga, you know where the fuck I been. You sent me to hell. It's hot. Where the fuck is some water? He didn't say none of that. He been chilling. And if you think the Quran, the only ones who said that God made a deal over human beings' heads, right? And they literally placed a bet on your measly human lives, according to how they was feeling, right? Then why the fuck did in the book of Job, God made a deal with the devil and made a bet with the devil about Job's life? People think Job was tested because it was the devil's idea. No, Job was minding his business. He wasn't doing anything. He was in the field. He had the little sheep feeding them. He was minding his business. He had his wife, you know what I'm saying, his sons. You know what I'm saying? Life was good for him. He got promoted. He became the general manager. You know, things were going well. He had a new camel with rims. Wasn't nothing fucked up in Job's life. Everything was good. He was praying. He was making sure everybody else prayed. He was trying to keep everybody on point. This nigga, Satan, was like, what the fuck God up there doing? God in the craft went up there, and it was a bunch of angels that was with him. All right? First of all, let's back up a little bit. How did Satan get in a craft and go to heaven? Who let him get there? He was allowed to travel to heaven. And not only was he allowed to travel to heaven, he stood there face to face with God having a conversation. But they want you to think that God cut Satan off. They say God cut Satan off. Lucifer tries to pray, but God doesn't hear him. So he won't even pray now. Where the fuck is that at? They said this nigga went straight to God. Went to a door like this. Yo, what's good? Hey, look. What going on, Gabriel? How y'all nigga been doing? Shit, you know, same shit. And then soon the guy asked, said, where the hell you come from? He said, shit, from up and down the earth and to and fro. All right, that's a bet. So basically he was saying he doing his works. He's still popping his shit. He's still causing people to fall. He's still causing people to turn their hearts away from God. And God was like, shit, I bet you can't fuck with Job. Satan was like, who the fuck is Job? He said, nigga, that's my number one. That's my, boy, what? That's the most loyal nigga we got. I bet you can't fuck with Job. And Satan was like, bet then. And then they literally shook on it. You know what I'm saying? They put like 50 on it. And he went back down and started fucking with Job. Job probably don't even know to this day that God was the one who was like, you know what I'm saying? I bet you can't fuck with him. And he did go fuck with him. So they try to paint over it and be like, you know, but he gave him a new wife. He gave him new children. He gave him another house. He gave him more sheep. Yo, wait. So put yourself in Job's shoes then. That wasn't a test of faith. That was a bet. You want to go read the story? That wasn't no test of faith. He wasn't testing Job's faith. He placed a bet with the devil. Why did God place a bet with the devil if God already know? Listen to what y'all be trying to say now. If God already know how a motherfucker gonna respond to some shit, why the fuck would he let him lose his family? If God already know how a motherfucker gonna respond to some shit, why the hell would he let the devil test him? Now, like I said, as the Masons, when we say from whence cometh thou, we know what the fuck we saying. You put it in the book of Job. This was a higher level conversation. These were two rulers, niggas who had rank for real, betting on one man's life. And he let the devil do that shit. And folks try to paint it to say that because he gave him more wife, he gave him another wife, he gave him more children, that he's supposed to be better. No, that ain't how it is. Y'all keep trying to glorify this shit. In all actuality, if you really read your Bible, it seems like a whole bunch of childish ass extraterrestrials. All right, that's what the Quran included. A whole bunch of childish or prideful extraterrestrials who've been fighting, and we inherited a beef that didn't have shit to do with us if you were a human being. The shit didn't really have anything to do with us. That's they shit. They fighting. Did anybody, why you talking about fuck the devil? Did you ever question this? Did you ever wonder, like, maybe he was right? I'm just gonna throw this out there. Did you ever think that maybe the nigga who they say is the op, do you ever think that that could have probably been the nigga who was like, he just was right, but the dictator didn't want him to be right? Look at how people act now. If somebody come out with righteousness in a world where people think that they already right, they'll crucify us. Remember, they screamed, crucify Jesus. They were screaming, crucify the nigga who came to help them. So what if Iblis was actually the only motherfucker who wouldn't prostrate because he was keeping the original law? You know, the original law of Shahada was saying that you shall prostrate before nobody but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're supposed to bow down to absolutely nobody. So what if, I'm just going to throw this out here and I'm going to bring it to a close. I don't want nobody's brain to explode. All right. I don't even know if I can do this. This is another degree. What if all of this was a test, right, from the beginning? And when he said to the angels to prostrate before Adam, what if all them niggas failed? What if each and every one of them niggas failed? Because they forgot. Listen, this is masonry. In masonry, we say, as soon as we come in the door, they say, here go your list. Here go your name. Your name is caution. All right. We're going to take that from you. You're about to be divested. Okay. And you're not allowed to speak. Here go your blindfold, which is really a new set of eyes. All right. You're not allowed to speak. But then when we get to a certain point in that ante room where we locked in this dark room, which to us is dark. It ain't really dark. If you would have taken the blindfolds off, you probably find it is bright as fuck. But the blindfolds, you think it's dark. So it still feel like a dark room where all you got is you. Right? Exactly. The Pastor Choice song with the Heaven is Hell, vice versa. P.T. Cruiser. Right? We sitting in the ante room. All right? I was there with another brother. So I traveled with another brother who had my same biological birth name, Omari. The brothers kept coming in and kept asking us, what's your name? Right? We gave you a name. I hope you ain't just, this is how they were doing it. We already gave your name. What's your name? Come on now. All you gotta do is just tell us your name and you can, you know what I'm saying? You can get out of here. You've been in this room for 3 hours. Come on now. Y'all want to sit here all day? I'm telling you, you done passed it. You made it this far. All you gotta do is give us your name. And we wouldn't speak. Right? You weren't supposed to speak. So we got to the last level. That's why I had to go back and do this shit again. I actually failed the first time coming into masonry. I had to go back and do this shit again 2 weeks apart. Right? This happened when I was 16 years old. So we get to the last part, and he had the Supreme Grand Master there, and the Worshipful Masters was there. Right? So they like, yo, we got the Grand Master right here. Right? He just walked in. All you got to do is tell us your name. Come on now, you done made it this far. Same thing they were saying in the ante room, but now they like really harking in on it. Like they stumping around. They like, oh man, come on now. I vouched for you. I vouched for you. Look, the test is done. All you got to do is just tell us your name. Tell us your name. Come on now. Right? So they hit the nigga's shoulder. And I'm like, should I tell these? You know what I mean? I was like, shit, I don't know, man. This shit sound convincing. Like, I should probably tell these niggas the fuck my name is. I'm trying to win this Mason shit. Nigga, I said, caution. And he followed suit. My bro, the folk who got my same name, he was like, caution. That's y'all know niggas slamming shit, packing books up. I hear book bags zipping. Niggas walking out. I'm like, what the fuck? And then a nigga hand on my face, taking out the blindfold, pulling it down. They stumping around. I said, what the hell wrong with these niggas? He said, you failed, bro. I'm like, how the fuck did I fail? How did I fail? He said, you weren't supposed to say anything. You got to come back and do it over. I'm like, but y'all niggas was... He said, that's the thing. You got to be cautious. That's what the fuck we was teaching you. You got to be cautious. Just because we telling you to speak and say some shit, the first thing we taught you was to exercise caution. Why the fuck would you say something? I was tongue in cheek. I was the Kevin Hart meme. I couldn't believe that shit. Now I gotta wait 2 more weeks and come back and do this shit again. But I got this shit right now. I don't give a fuck how long y'all niggas stay here and say that. I ain't saying shit. But he said most people fail on the first time. He said that. He said most people fail the first time. That's another thing. I don't know if people will tell you that. First of all, everything I just told you, nigga, ain't gonna tell you. But most people fail the first time. All this shit be kept sacred. The motherfucker don't talk about the rituals and shit. Right? So my point is, what if when they were told to prostrate, the only one who actually passed the test was Iblis? What if when this nigga was like, I'm not prostrating before them? You know what I'm saying? What if he was like, nah, this is a trick. My name caution, but I ain't finna speak this shit. Because you told me don't prostrate before. What I'm telling you might sound like a joke, and I got to do it a certain way. Of course, you got to lighten certain moves up, especially when you delivering certain keys and gems behind this that's crossing over thresholds of people's religion that they hold dear. All right? However, there are Muslims who actually believe that. There are people who actually believe that Iblis was the actual one who kept that law. You understand? Because they started to add Rasulullah Muhammad in it, okay? They started adding him in with the prayer, okay, or with the declaration of Shahada, which that's confusing because that's where you got Muhammadism coming from. Like, why would you add Muhammad in to Shahada when all your declaration is for Allah? It ain't supposed to be for his messenger. You know what I'm saying? But people actually became Muhammadists and started to believe in Muhammad and worship him and put his picture up, and it became all about the messenger, not about the one who, you know what I'm saying, sent the messenger or sent the message by way of their messenger called Jibril to the messenger called Muhammad. Are y'all getting what I'm saying to you? So the point is, everything you know could be flipped, okay, which means you don't really know. That's why you continue to search. That wasn't me telling you that the evil beings on this planet Earth, all right, are the ones who you need to be walking after. That's dumb. No, what I'm saying is they could make it seem like, you know, these beings are something like if you say God, then it's all good. That's fallacy. God was never all good. He didn't do all good things. They didn't do all good things. All right? Then they say the devil is a lie. But the devil told the truth a lot of times. Especially when he first introduced to somebody who would have been called the devil, the old serpent. That nigga told the outright truth. He said, when you eat that fruit, your eyes going to be open. You're going to know the difference between good and evil. And they literally backed them up. They fact checked and said, this nigga right. And they said, yo, when they ate of that fruit, their eyes was open. They had it. He told the truth. The devil is not a liar, meaning the devil can lie. The opposition can lie. But whoever that serpent was not a liar to only lie. Then they say God is not a man that he should lie, but God lied so many times in the book. He even announced that he lied so many times. And if you got my book, Did Jesus Really Die for Our Sins, you know what I'm telling you is true. If you stay in the scripture, you know God lied. I probably will be able to find a list right now how many times God lied. God lies in the Bible. Let's see. Bible contradiction, does God lie? Let's see. They got some shit called the Atheist Papers. This is shit that if you was coming from a certain background, people wouldn't even probably look that shit up because it's confirmation bias. You know what I mean? If you don't look it up, then people mind it, then this type of evidence doesn't exist. But if you do look it up and you already believe it, it's already confirming what you already believe. So somebody says, I'm fascinated by contradictions in the Bible. Because of that, I've decided to create a subsection on this blog titled Bible Contradictions. The first is below, which addresses the question, does God lie? All right. Bible contradictions number 1, does God lie? No, in hope of eternal life, which God that cannot lie promised before the world began. Titus 1 verse 2. Yes, for this cause God shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie. That's in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 11. And then you have Christians who will come out and say Allah is a deceiver. They say Allah, the Muslim God is a deceiver. It actually says it in the Quran. And then you read what they were saying. He was like saying the same thing these motherfuckers just said. That he would lead astray, Allah leads astray, whoever he chooses to lead astray. But he wasn't saying he's just leading people astray. They were saying they were leading people astray because, like, motherfuckers was wicked. So they didn't want people to access certain pieces of information because they were wicked. You know what I mean? They thought they already had all this shit figured out, so they let them. So right here it says, for this cause God shall send them a strong delusion that they should believe a lie. Why would God do that? You understand? There are many more contradictions regarding whether or not God lies. Those verses saying he can't lie are found at Numbers 23:19, 1 Samuel 15:29, 2 Samuel 7:28, Psalm 119, 160, and Hebrews 6:18. Verses claiming that God can or does lie are found at 1 Kings 22:23. Let's look at that. So now the Lord has put a deceiving spirit in the mouths of all these prophets of yours. The Lord has decreed disaster for you. Okay, so he put a deceiving spirit in these people's mouths so that they could lie. You understand? That's deception. So now the Lord has put a deceiving spirit in the mouths of these prophets of yours. That's in 2 Chronicles. They put the same shit in there. All right, let's see what else. Jeremiah 4:10. Then I said, alas, sovereign Lord, how completely you have deceived this people and Jerusalem by saying you will have peace when the sword is at our throats. Okay, there's deception. All you have to do is actually stay in the book. That's what I'm telling you. You don't have to. You stay in the book, you can show people this stuff. Jeremiah chapter 20, verse 7. You deceived me, Lord, and I was deceived. You overpowered me and prevailed. I am ridiculed all day long. Everyone mocks me. Okay. All that God is not a man, or God is not a man that he should lie, seems to be going out the window. Because all over the book, he telling lies. Okay. All over the book, he committed murders. So God murders, God lies, God does a lot of things, but as long as it's in God's plan, people say it's okay. Until it's your people. This is somebody else, you asking why. When it's one of your children, one of your mother, your father, then it's like, why, Lord? But when it's anybody else, you say God has a plan. You understand? So just remember, people have played games. They say, I create peace and evil. God created peace and evil, did good and bad things. All right? So this is not a spirit of good. Now, you do have some who want to bring this place to order. Those are what you refer to as the good ones, but not everybody will refer to them as good ones. Your government doesn't see these beings as good people, not even just extraterrestrial. Let's keep it on the surface. Anybody who's a person who tries to rise up against this establishment of evil or wickedness or disorder, all right, or perversions. Let's use the word perversions. Perversions of the food, perversions of sexuality, perversions of the sight, perversions of culture, perversions, all this perversion of the West, the Western Hemisphere, and the spread over to the rest of this world as a plague. All right. If you try to fight that, they see you as the op. You become the devil to them, and they will take you down. And they're very diligent about taking down whoever they see as a devil. You know what I mean? Unless they're too busy with other things, like right now, where they trying to figure out what the fuck they finna do about these signs in the sky. What they finna do about these astronomical events that are lining up, these solar eclipses, planetary alignments, all this stuff been happening. Notice that I said back last year that we were going to end the fundraiser in April. Turns out April is a very important month this year. You understand? And we're going to be doing a fast leading up to April 4th. So just hang on tight. And I just gave you a gem right there. Real quick before we get up out of here. What I will do, because you know the book How to Clone is on the way, and if you hear me say it more, then you know it's on the way. All right, when you was hearing me say it spaced out, it wasn't that close. But if you hear me say it more and more, okay, then How to Clone will be here super soon, and it has to be here before the end of March. All right. So the X marks the spot conversation, right? I did my own decoding on it. And I'm like, what is this X? I keep seeing X. I see Twitter with the X. I see all this stuff with X. I looked at, oh shit, the computer literally just unplugged. That's crazy. I'm finna pull it up. But I looked at the total solar eclipse pathway. As a matter of fact, somebody sent it to me. I don't know if I got the screenshot. Somebody sent it to me about a week ago, or maybe less than that. And it had the X. Yep, here you go right here. So y'all see how the pathway is an X? How will the 2024 total solar eclipse differ from 2024 solar eclipse? Right? The 2017 is going from the top left to the bottom right. The 2024 pathway is from the bottom left to the top right. Right? That X connects right there where you see Illinois. Right? So I remember as a child, I used to call the shit Illinois. I used to literally say the shit until my mama had to correct me. She was like, it's Illinois, which still don't make sense to this day. He's like, why the fuck do they need the S? I was one of them children. The S don't need to be there. Why is the P there? Pneumonia. None of that shit ever made sense. Right? So the X marks the spot on Illinois. Right? I wish I could pull it up, but I can't pull it up how I would have wanted to because the damn computer is loaded. So let me see if I can just write the shit out for you. And that shit happened right when I was finna pull the shit up too. So let's crack that code real quick on X marking the spot. So there's been X's all in the sky. We already know that. We've been seeing that. All right. We already broke down that the X was the pyramid. We broke that down. Okay. So if X marks the spot, then X has a centerpiece. Okay. And that centerpiece is right here. So if we're looking at the centerpiece on this map, we'll find it's right there at Illinois. Illinois. All right. So for me, that is not hard to find. It ain't hard to crack open either. Illa is a word that means what? God. So let's put God right here. Okay. Or someone who is worshipped, or a hierarchy person, a ruler, whatever you want to say. Illa, Illy, Illu. And the word noise is just what? Sounds or noise. All right? Which is a wave, actually. We can get into that too, because we got to come back around to that. Right? So we have Illinois. Illinois. Illa. Remember, X marks the spot in that the X lands on the Illinois. All right? That's on the map that we have for the solar eclipse. So we have God noise. God noise. Noise of God. This word right here, Illinois, actually came from the Native American word, which was, what was it? Illa neck or Illowek. Okay, it was another way they spelled it. It was two different ways they spelled it. All right, or Ilinowek. Okay? So that word meant, watch this, there. Remember, I told you can look up what I'm telling y'all. It meant right there. Or, watch this, in that place. Right? So, remember, X marks the spot. So, if X marks the spot and it's landing on Illinois, okay, in Illinois, Illinois or Illiniwek, okay, means there or in that place, then indeed X marks the spot. X marks the spot. Y'all with me? Now, it's a lot of more things that we're going to be breaking down. I don't want to spoil too much because I still want that whole portion or chapter of the How to Clone is called X Factor. All right. That's in the How to Clone book. I want that to be explosive for y'all. But we will be preparing for a lot of different things. I don't want to say too much because I don't want people to try to bite this shit and try to act like they, you know what I'm saying, the ones who putting it together. Because when people do that, it put Amberlight on it. So I might just come out later, you know what I mean, after we done already did the shit, or when it's time to do it to explain what we doing. But you'll have to have the book to know what the fuck the shit is even about. You feel what I'm saying? I don't want people to... Same reason why I said with the 8 year, I said everybody gonna try to talk about 2024 as the 8 year. I said it in a rehab book. I said, but they won't know what it is, okay? But what did I say? It's the what? The gene. Okay? This is a gene. Type in the gene emoji. Somebody type the gene emoji. Let's go back and look at what I said so you can remember. Gene. All right? The gene emoji. What's in the center of this gene emoji? What shape do you see? Let's draw it. Or what letter do you see? Right here. The X. Okay? Do you see that? This symbol right here, which is that 8, is also the double helix. Y'all see that? All right. This is also dealing with time, because this is an hourglass. Okay, which is also an 8. But you see this right here, that point, central point, and you see this letter right here is the X. Okay? Time. And remember, I came out with the 9th Hour album. And I said, what? Don't forget about the time. Remember the time. All right? You have to remember also that when you're dealing with the time, you're dealing with a negative and a positive yield. Okay? Negative and a positive yield. Which is what? Allows for you to be electrified. Because this is what's called charge for electricity. Charge. And electricity, remember I told you it's the year of the elect also, as is the election year. Got the word elect right there as in the chosen ones. Okay? Stay with me. So with this negative and positive, you got what's referred to as Sheba. And who know what this one is right here? There's another one. It starts with an SH also. You have Sheba and Shakti. So Sheba and Shakti work as a battery, okay, of negative and positive charges. All right? So you have Shiva Shakti. All right? And if you were to color this in, it'll be this, and then this will be white, like the yin and the yang. This is what's referred to as because you have this, all right? Y'all probably heard about this, a mantra. All right? But you also have something called yantra. And a yantra is another word for a machine, okay? Or a piece of technology. What another word literally is the instrument. And I want you to hearken in on that or pay closer attention to the fact that we're saying instrument, okay? Because when you say instrument, what do you use for instrument? Music. Y'all with me? Music. All right? And when it comes to the music, remember this. There are messages in the music called notes. All right? You remember, if you didn't learn this in school, all right? Music notes. Okay? And your music notes were, what was it? Your quarter note, your half note, then you have your whole note, and you have your eighth note. All right? This is notes, literally, how messages can get through in your reality. And this is going to be important too. You'll find out why soon, because it's a key. All right? 7 of these major notes or pitches or keys, all right, in what's referred to as a scale. And there's another word that you need to take note of, if I can find a space for this shit. It's referred to as a staff. And I already told you that the staff is this symbol right here. And it's also this symbol right here, which is the letter Lam, all right, which appears as a music note, by the way. And the letter Lam, literally Lam, attaches to the word phonetically, lamb, okay? And the lamb is right there in the book of Revelation chapter 14, all right? R14, Revelation 14, if you want to look at it. And the lamb is right there when the 144,000, which is the fundraiser we're doing right now, was singing what? A new song. Meaning they were producing what? A new son or a new son. All right? And it was a song of the purified ones. How do you know it's a song of the purified ones? Because it literally says it in Revelation chapter 14, verse 4. Right? And Revelation 14:4 said what? These are they who were referred to as virgins. They were virgins, meaning they were pure. All right? And the word pure is the word that is associated with the blue chakra. All right? Which is the throat chakra, called the Vishuddha chakra. All right, Vishuddha. And Vishuddha literally means, if you go look this up and fact check me, it means purity or pure, simply pure. All right. So a virgin is looked at as pure, correct? All right. These are the pure ones. And he also said they had not been taken out of line, meaning they had not been defiled. Whoever these pure ones were, they had not been defiled or taken out of that lineup. All right. What is a staff used to do? It's used to line people up. Okay. So let's draw that. Let's see what it will appear as. Right. Staff. And the lamb is right there with that lamb symbol, which is a music note symbol. All right. Teaching people whatever that new song was. And right there on top of this mountain called Mount Zion. Okay. So that new song could be seen. And that's why I told you to think about that new blue sun. All right. Because the only ones who would be able to activate that new blue sun are and would be and will be the ones who already access the green light. Everything is in alignment. Remember I told you this shit been planned. We talk about this shit in How to Love Again book, 2022. Okay? So there's a plan. Watch this. So you have the new blue sun or the new blue sound, which is that throat chakra, the pure sound. All right? And it has to be in alignment with this word right here. Harmonic. Or this phrase, harmonic convergence. All right? I'm going to give you a gem. Remember, I ain't showing everything yet, because if I show it, they're going to probably try to, there will be people who will surely try to step in and put amber light on it. We won't let it happen. I'm not going to tell the plan yet, but I want you to go do the math. Research this right here, because I spoke about it in my books. All right? And research how and when this took place and see if you can figure out what I'm up to. All right? If you can't figure it out, that's fine. But just remember this. All right? For the time when I'm going to tell you. Now, look, you probably screen recording this or not, but you hear me say, I'm going to let you know. Remember, I told you in the book of Rehab, they're not going to know, y'all, what this is. But I'm going to tell you what this will be. All right? Up-regulation. Up-regulation. Up. Ray. Ra. Which is what? The sun. And what is Galatian? Galatian is actually a book in the Bible. And that word comes from Gali or Gal. All right? And the word Gal was saying what? Wave of God. Right? So if you say upregulation, here are the hieroglyphs or the sacred markings that you will use to present that. Know it, so if you ever see it, you'll understand what I'm saying. All right? Upregulation. Is this not raise your frequency? And I told you what raise your frequency meant when I said what? Raise your frequency. All right? Watch this. Ray is the sun, is your frequent C. All right, which is a wave. Stay with me now, because you're going to want to remember this, because it's a major key. Some of y'all probably overstanding it. I done taught you enough now. Know that this ain't finna be for no damn product. This is going to be for an event. And if you will be there, you're going to be a part of it. And you're going to reap the benefits of it. Right? But don't forget that letter C, okay? Because it's a major key. All right? Now, I want you to go look into again what they'll say the meaning of Illinois P will be, right? Because if you find it to be best, people, okay, you're going to remember that a man came out a while ago and he was like, major key. Who was that? Who was the nigga that was like, major key? His name was DJ Khaled. Khaled. All right? Which is to say, best. And what he kept saying, we the best music. We the best what? Music. And X marks the spot as Illinois. So only y'all who have access to that light, who are the elect or the chosen or the best people, will understand what major key I just gave. And even if you didn't get it from me consciously, that green light is going to deliver it to you. You're going to know exactly where we are when we get there. All right? Because there will be what? 1, 2, 3 points. There will be 3 points that we're going to activate. I almost gave you, I will give it eventually, but notice it'll be from here to here. All right? So you should be able to do the math on that. Okay? If you can't do the math on it, no, that's fine. You should know what this is, though. All right? You should be able to look at that symbol and know what I'm telling you for this year. All right? So, boom. There will be 3 points. And of those 3 points, you're actually familiar with it because I broke down the science of it when I was teaching you this. Okay? So, we the best music, okay? Meaning those of you who are of that 144, as far as the orators. Remember, I also told you this is the year of the orators. What is an orator? Meaning you're an orator. What does that mean, Faise? It means you are Ansar Nur. You're helpers of the light. Okay? So, let me see if I can pull this shit up now because this shit was closed. Because if I had Google, I probably would have been able to explode the shit more for you. But the shit, I got to be able to show y'all other than just y'all seeing it. I want you to see, you know what I'm saying, beyond that for yourself. All right? Ansar Nur, meaning helpers of the light. Meaning aiders of the or. Remember, or means light. Okay? And aider is a helper. Okay? Helpers of the light. And when I said green light movement back in the 9, which was November. Okay? Remember, Novum means 9. I don't care what they say. It's not 11. It never been 11. Novum is 9. All right? In the 9th month of 2023, I gave that key and said, here we go, y'all. It's time, all right, to cross over that road, all right? And I kept talking about the crossroad, all right, which literally is where X marks the spot, all right? So while I'm pulling that up, I'm pull up Final Cut too, so we can go back and look at that occurrence that took place when, Young Elder and myself went into the Matrix and started playing the game. Let me see if I can pull this shit up real quick. Because we ran into an X, a blue X on the wall. And you're going to hear Young Elder say X marks the spot. That was not orchestrated. We didn't put that X there. I think you will be able to look at it and tell, though. but it was a blue X. All right, so X marks that spot. Let me see if I can pull it up now. And anyway, what was the there in the place meaning? All right, cool. Let's look at it real quick. So you say Illinois, the word Illinois, best people. All right, the meaning of Illinois. The word Illinois, best people. All right, so let me make sure I can get that shit fact check because I know I gotta show the what do you call it? The there in that place one. Illy, that's what it was. Illy, the word Illy in Latin. So let's look that up. So we can get that clear. All right, so Illy, Latin, means that way, on that side, or right there. Okay? Standing on that side, belonging to that party. All right? This place or point. Here. Okay? So remember I told you it was Illy. It's not actually the whole Illy net word. It's Illy itself. That was saying X marks the spot where I put it at. Yeah, X marks the spot. Okay? So, but that's where Illy. All right, the Illinois word is what gave you, Illinois gave you best people. All right, so y'all get what I'm doing, right? Do you understand that? So we the best music, best people will be standing right here on top of this mountain. You should be able to see it's a mountain from the eagle eye view, which is a pyramid. And that mountain is none other than what? Mount Sion or Zion. And you'll find that in Revelation 14. Okay, so let's do the Revelation 14 read, and then we'll get up out of here. We'll come back here later. All right, but remember, this X marks the spot. All right? And I can't tell everything, even though I'm excited about it, because they'll throw red on it, and we can't let it happen. We won't let it happen. All right, so it's Revelation 14:4. Y'all going to be excited about it, though, and we're going to approach it real quick, because you're already in February. All right? Let's go Revelation 14. Read the whole 14. Pay attention to the key words like the lamb and all of that. All right. And I look, and lo, a lamb. Okay, so there we go, our lamb. We know what the lamb is now. Now you should be able to see lamb as the letter, lamb as the staff, which deals with music, but also the staff that deals with the scepter that helps to lead as the shepherd leads the other sheep. My sheep know my voice. My sheep know my sound. Y'all with me? I look. And lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion. Okay? That's it right there on the top of the mountain. Right there, X marks the spot. And with him, 144,000. We're doing a 144,000 fundraiser right now. Having his father's name written in their foreheads. You'll know what that means when we get there. And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. All right. And they sung, as it were, a new song before the throne. So there we go. That new son or that new song. They sung. So we know this has something to do with music. You know Faise One ain't crazy to crack these codes. It's right here. As a matter of fact, you should be able to know that these scriptures have so many delineations, okay, and so many variations and so many pieces of gems that come through them. You can take each of them and put together a whole picture and read the same shit over and over again and get a different picture for each and every one of them or those meanings, which still all line up to the same meaning for your events that you're going through. Right? And they sung, as it were, a new song. This is music. Before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. There go that word, redemption. Let's see what we got. Because I know I ain't telling every motherfucking thing. So I was like, oh, shit. When I started figuring this shit out, there's a lot of shit. Where the redemption at? I got it on here. Yeah, all this shit. I can't say all this shit right now. But we're going to come back and we're going to break it down further. Yep, God shall redeem. So the wave of God word gal meant God shall redeem. Remember I told you it's up regulation. It's in the book Rehab. And I told you rehab ain't just that word. Rehab was saying Rahub, okay, or Rahub. And Rahub meant God loves. All right, rehab was saying a lot of things. You say by head, it was a word. It was a lot of words. So go read the word, read the book Rehab. If you don't have that book, you see how you can get it at the bottom. All right, send a donation, send your email. We just sent out a whole load today. Okay, so if you sent your donation within the last 3 days, your book should have arrived to you. If you don't see them, check the spam folder. But we just sent them out today. All right, so if you want the books, it's 10 of them all together. Send a donation, send your email. But the one you're looking for specifically is the Rehab book. And pay attention to how many times I put the number 8 in there. And pay attention to how I broke down the 8. Okay? And this book came out October 1st. And what is Oct? 8. You with me? It came out in the 8th month. And of course, they ain't going to make it be the 8th month because they fucked everything up. But Oct meant 8 before they fucked it up. All right? Now your 8th month is August because they wanted to talk about Augustus Caesar and all them niggas. And Julius Caesar. They fucked it all up. Right? Because you would never had no July or August. And then everything would have been on time. But they fucked the time up. So 8, exactly, octave. Sound of many waters. So go read that book and you'll be caught up. And then, we keep walking. I laid enough. I want to see who's going to be able to figure it out. I put enough hints on here to let you know what we're going to do. I want to see who's going to be able to take it further and DM me and let me know what you put together. Who's going to be able to take it further and see if you can understand what I'm planning. I'm planning something. And what I'm planning is real big. It's real major. The elders are excited about it. I'm excited about it. And if you're with me, you feel the excitement too. You probably don't even know what it's about. But I'm planning something. All right, that X marks the spot is not by accident. Neither are the astronomical events that are lining up for the month of April, which is right when we end our fundraiser. And that fundraiser is called the 144,000 fundraiser. I could have called it anything. You know what I mean? I could have just said we're raising 100,000. I could have just said we're raising 50,000. But for some reason, the number's 144,000. I promise you, people think it's about the amount. You feel what I'm saying? And I came out with the 9th hour. All right, album, which is 1 + 4 + 4. So everything is lining right up to where it's supposed to be. As soon as I start talking about the X's, what you see, X's every motherfucking where. Well, that's why the green light every motherfucking where. Right? Just watch what happens as soon as we get toward that blue. So get ready because I'm about to show you how to do this shit. I'm going to show y'all how to bring this place to haven or heaven. I'm going to show you how to uplift or up-regulate, because remember what a regulation is. All right? I know I'm probably saying too much for the moment, but remember what a regulation is. A regulation is a law. All right? And don't ever forget what Genesis is, or genetics. Okay? Go look at the etymology of genetics. Okay? Because you'll find that you're talking about God's children. How will you know that, Faise? Just know that the word all is referring to God. All right? And just know that genus, or gene, gives you the word offspring. Okay, so the offspring of the Most High, children of God. Listen to what I'm telling you. Okay, genetic, children of God. Up, regulation, get up. All right, get back into the law of the Most High. genetic upregulation. They can't do this unless they can do this. You feel what I'm saying? So just get ready. I love y'all.